Positive start here for Friday morning as we get heading into the long holiday weekend, coming off the worst day for the Dow since March. So it was a pretty red day across the board. We do get a few individual economic data points coming out here. Durable goods on a month-over-month basis, 0.7% for April. If you zoom out a little bit, you'll see it was a little bit higher than expected there across the board. But the big number coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, Michigan consumer sentiment. That has both a 1-year and a 5-year inflation expectation attached to it. So typically not necessarily about the consumer sentiment number, although if it's one way or the other big enough, it can move the market, but more about that inflation expectation. So mark that down. 10 o'clock, we'll get that. There are a few Fed speakers coming through today as well. I think the first one is, well, pre-market we had a couple, and then Waller coming up at 9:35 this morning. So we'll watch out for comments from Fed's Waller. Yeah, it was downside right out of the gate yesterday. Really not much of a bounce the entire day. We did try midday, but then that heavy selling came back in right through to the close yesterday. So here we are, a little bit higher pre-market, 0.25% basically for both the NASDAQ and the S&P to get going here on a Friday. So we'll see. I mean, worst day for the Dow since March, so it wasn't nothing. But as you said before we came on here, a little bit of profit taking probably.
Yeah, 400 points, Brendo, from the top of the NQ to the bottom there yesterday. 19,000 and a quarter was the top. 18,600 and a quarter was the bottom. 400 points worth of range yesterday, and we all saw what the Mag 7 did. Lots to talk about today. Apple getting a nod from Wedbush as well. Tesla slashing some production for the Model Y at the Shanghai facility. So lots to talk about.
Yeah, I think it was more, I read a couple of different notes on that. I think it was more the data that they found suggested that production was down that much. So it was maybe a little bit after the fact, but not like Tesla to not come out and actually say that that was happening. The other big thing, obviously, crypto. Some rules and regulations getting adjusted yesterday, paving the way for these Ethereum ETFs. That's a daily chart? Yeah, daily chart of ETH. Back downside a little bit here, a bit of the sell the news kind of event, 2% right now for Ethereum, guys, on a Friday. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Like yesterday, it was like a sea of red. Like every single sector was down except for SMH, which was only up because of Nvidia, and wheat. Wheat was up like 0.5%. Like there was a huge, basically sell-off. It was like an everywhere sell-off. Nobody was unaffected by it. Well, no sector was unaffected by it. And then you had like this, like Nvidia just shining brightly, holding up like 9%. So I think today you're still going to have the chips in play. Like ETH isn't really moving that much. Obviously, applications are going to go ahead. So even though there isn't a ton of movement, remember it rallied a lot going into this. So the crypto names are going to be in play. I mean, so many things dip down into significant support levels. Coinbase could be one of them as well. There's a lot to get to. DraftKings had news in the afternoon. That's at a key price level. Going to have that on the radar. So, pick your flavor, because with the dips that we got, I mean, Tesla came right back into support that's been there all of last week. Meta dipped back into support that's been there all of the entire month, around $460. It should be a pretty interesting day. Whether or not we get the same fireworks, like literally everything down, remains to be seen. I think you can have some nice bounces and rallies given the way that we had a sell-off so deep.
Yeah, it's nice to see Nvidia back to where we're at here now, 10,000. 1050. I'm going to keep saying that. Hold on, I'm going to move this over again.
Because it's going to 10,000.
I got to save my layout here because I got to move this over. All right, so yeah, look at this 1025 area. I just, we get real excited. And I was speaking with Marissa last night, and she said that I have to go in sim mode for the first 30 minutes. So I might have to do that. We won't do that. 1030, 1035, just thinking that if we could be patient enough to wait for the best trades, I think we could make them every day. So let's just wait to see if we get some dip buys into there. We'll wait to see if we can get something in and around 1030 maybe, but I like this name. I mean, look at it just continuing to go. I don't see any reason to sell this name. We got everything we wanted yesterday, and the market rallied with it. Obviously, we had that pullback. I mean, the whole market went, but then it had a really nice recovery to be up 9% or something by the time it was all said and done, closing in and around this 1040, so up to 1050 again. I would think that this is an area, 1060, 1063, that we'd be interested in, and that if the market is strong, I think that that's a break long there. So I don't know. Let's wait on breakouts, but I think for now this dip is important to get to. If we can get down to 1025, I think you have to be there. And then AMD yesterday, you know, everything was fine until the market opened. And, you know, AMD was upside 172. And it's like, we're above the 50 period. We're starting to go, this and that. Oh, yeah, by the way, I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but we won yesterday. 4-1 now.
Holla.
Yeah, man, another nail biter. I said to the kids, I said, do you know what a nail biter is? And they're like, no.
Nobody
They're like,
says
no.
that
I was like, what? I said, it means it was a close game. It was like 4-1, and then I brought in, I had this pitcher that was cooking, and he already did his 2 innings. He could have definitely gone in another inning, though, because you can only do 65 pitches over 4 days. Yeah. So we play again on Sunday, and I wasn't going to play him. But then there was this one guy that's been so amazing. He's an awesome guy, and it's his first year. And I put him in the 6th inning to close it out. And he was on the board, and he's like, all right. He's getting all pumped up, because last game I had him in there as well, but we didn't make it to 6 innings. It was a time restriction. So he's in there, he's like, all right, Romano's getting ready. This is what he's saying to me. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't even really want to put him in because my other guy's cooking. Anyways, he went in there, he gave up a run. I went down to the mound, settled him down, and then he got out of it, and we won, I think, 6-3 or something like that.
Locked it down.
He locked it down.
What is get the music going when he walks in for?
That's what Gia said. Gia said, I can't believe he said that he was Romano. He didn't play any music. There was no fireworks. There was no this and that.
That's
but,
not okay. You could get like a speaker, play.
Yeah, we should. Now,
I've seen
for warm-up music, yeah, but I don't want to just do it for one kid. These kids are 9, 10 years old. Like, what kind of pressure is that?
Or they could get their maybe the walk-up music
walk-up
when they
music,
hit too.
yeah. So for that,
maybe that's it. Yeah, walk-up
so
music.
for the rep team, which we have tonight, we have walk-up music for that. So look at this market, by the way. I don't know. I mean, the Nasdaq just went ham right here. So I don't know. I mean, up 40 points straight to the upside right now. So. Wow, we're writing down some levels here on the Nasdaq, but you know, we may be getting going here. If you don't, it appears like if you don't buy the dip that day, then you've missed the dip.
The next day is always.
Yeah, it's like it always battles back. Everything seems to battle back. All right, we'll go back over to the desk, see what's up over there.
Those Canadian retail sales numbers were amazing. Not that. Durable goods, again, coming in better than expected there to the upside. Seems like the market kind of likes that. 0.7% for April. Forecast was negative, so that's a decent-sized turnaround across the board there. Again, Michigan sentiment coming up at 10 o'clock this morning as well. We mentioned some semiconductor news this morning. Just noting Nvidia not really participating in that move up for the Nasdaq, so strength coming from other areas, but higher anyways on this note that these chips that they created, or one specifically, the chip that they created, the higher end version to go to China, not necessarily performing as they were expecting, and some price cuts may be coming through.
Oh, well, yeah, a bit of a tougher look there. They had to actually make those chips specifically for China, so you feel maybe it was a bit rushed. We'll have to wait and see. What I want to focus on is the 10-to-1 stock split that they announced a little while ago. The reason is this is going to really interest retail investors, not so much institutional. And when I dug a little deeper, Nvidia is the #1 held stock in retail accounts. 9.3% of all retail accounts in the United States have Nvidia in their portfolio. Although it has nothing to do with the underlying value of the company, this split, it does have a way of reaching retail. So be watching for this.
Yeah, a little bit quiet here so far, guys. I mean, it's up 1% after that nice day yesterday, coming off, a couple in a row here for NVDA.
Yeah, I mean, so that 9%, like you put it in context, if you own like the Qs, it's like 6.5%, or maybe a little bit more now after yesterday. I don't think that accounts for yesterday. So it's not like it's a big stat, but I don't know how surprising necessarily that would be. The run that Nvidia has been on, like that's what everyone wants to be in, and you can't reflect that any more than what we saw yesterday in the trade in Nvidia, because there was so much strength. It just failed to bleed anywhere else. And then when Nvidia made the top, everything just accelerated to the downside. You know what? Like this is what we were looking at This is a 15-minute versus 3, so it's not going to be exactly the same. But if you look at the top at 130 on Nvidia, like it was absolutely like cruising. And then as the market was breaking to the downside and accelerating to the downside, it's when Nvidia finally found a top. It's like things had to fall apart, and then Nvidia just basically pulled back into morning support. At the end of the day, the split is going to be we always talk about how fundamentally it doesn't really do anything. That's technically true, but it does make it a little bit easier in terms of options plays, especially for retail in there. So I think there are some positives for the split. Certainly everyone was looking for it. They're going to get it. It's June 10th is the date. We had a couple people asking that yesterday, and I forgot to put it in there, but it is June 10th. So we only have a couple more weeks when this will be 1,000, and then we'll be trading at either 100 or 125. Who really knows by then? Anything can happen in 2 weeks. I just think you look for the strength in this name. And much unlike yesterday, there's no chance you're going to see me treating the group as a group. Like if we get to resistance levels, I'm willing to short AMD and ARM. I wasn't willing to short ARM until the afternoon yesterday, which was a colossal mistake because it was doing the exact same pattern as before. AMD failing the 50 only yesterday, but because of my bias due to Nvidia, I looked at that pattern, which had been working on ARM, failing the 50 period on the daily, let it try to break, and then short it after. Like that basically has been working. Some days bigs, but other days it just works. And then because Nvidia was so strong, I was like, oh, no, we got to be all bullish today. And that was a bit of a mistake. So I think you have to have the willingness in this particular market, and this earnings season has been very true. You cannot just simply lump things in the groups that you're accustomed to. You've got to be able to pick, okay, this is relatively strong, this is relatively weak, this has this setup, or this has this pattern. And the days of, hey, all the semis are up today, pick the one you like and go long, you can't do that. Not in this market. Yesterday was the perfect example of that. So today, go back to the well. You see a pattern, you like it. If we fail the 50 period again on the daily on ARM, I'm going to go short. If it loses, great. At least I was working with the pattern that's been good for the last week and a half.
Well, I mean, I feel like we're going to go on the rundown and we're going to have AMD and NVIDIA and all that on there as well. But yeah, look. So I think I'm writing this down on the sticky note right now. I think AMD, it's comeback season. So, with SZN, comeback SZN. So I just think that right now, that 160 is too key. We closed yesterday at 160 right there. We made it all the way back. We bounced the first time, then the pressure was too much in the afternoon. We all saw that bleed down. I mean, we had some great trades short. We had the futures short. We brought our day back on that. And then we had the Nvidia long at the end of the day for $10 as well. So I just think that if we're patient enough, again, we might not get this 160, but we could maybe wait for a break of 164, so that could be something. Or we let this thing just settle down and then wind up finding out, like we should have done yesterday with Nvidia, trade off this VWAP right here. So I think I'm going to look more at AMD today than Nvidia, but I still like both of these names. And then the name that Neil was in yesterday, but I wasn't, and I was going to start to look at it maybe a little bit more, was ARM. But I mean, ARM, no volume this morning. And
it never really does.
No, I mean, based on my technical analysis of what I'm seeing right here, I would say ... this, that, then that. Sell. I don't know. But not much happening in the pre-market. You're under the 50-period moving average. This has just gotten a nice move on the daily from its earnings, 90 up to 115. I think this is looking like a sell up here just because of the way this looks here on the 50-period moving average. Now, I know that it's going to be a downward slope because you had such a dramatic move there. But at the same time, it is looking like it wants to reject up here in and around 115, 120-ish. So for me, ARM would be a short on my radar if we bump up into that like 117 or so spot. So that would be my talk about ARM, because there's 117 yesterday, and on the daily, that's basically where we haven't been able to go through. So ARM on a bump, I like. AMD on a dip, I like.
All right, Friday morning, Michael Noss here with us. He was hard at work in his workshop all week long, creating a brand new tool for everyone. So listen up, because it's world premiere day here, Michael Noss. I don't know, did I build it up enough? Brand new indicator. Awesome. Go for it.
Yeah, so first of all, I'd love to take credit for building this, but I think all the devs at Trade Ideas might turn off my version. But yes, we are launching a new indicator, and where best to show it off than right here on Trader TV. So early, in fact, that it's not even out. So this is hopefully going to launch in the beta version the beginning of next week. If you are a Trade Ideas subscriber, you'll just get access to this when you update your beta version. If not, make sure you use Trader TV 20 for 20% off at checkout. Go to trade-ideas/Trader TV. There's a lot of cool stuff there on that landing page too. But it is a EMA cloud essentially, and you can customize this to your heart content. You can add up to 3 to your chart. But the idea is that people use moving averages and the distance between them, or the area of a moving average's support and resistance all the time. And what we wanted to add to the system is an ability to take 2 moving averages, whether they be exponential or simple, and essentially make a cloud or ribbon out of them. You guys have probably heard me all the time saying you don't draw your support and resistance lines with a pencil, you draw them with a crayon because they're just areas. Same thing with moving averages. So for example, what you're seeing on the chart right now is just the difference between a 10-day SMA and a 20-day SMA. There's a couple different ways to trade it. One is just to use the direction of the cloud as kind of your guiding light. You can see it's green when it's pointing up and the 10 period is above the 20, and a red when it's pointing down or the 10 period is below the 20. Very much cleans up the chart and says, okay, if this is green, I'm going to take a look at it. The other thing is, you've noticed a couple times on the SPY, we come into the cloud and we find some support there and we bounce out. For pullback traders or trend continuation traders, it's a great way to trade. A simple tool to kind of keep you in the trend, to make sure that you're not just using, a simple moving average like a 10-day SMA and saying, hey, if we're above or below that, I'm going to place trades based off it. But giving you that room, and how much room you want this cloud to be is going to be entirely up to you. So using this indicator, like we do, we build indicators and we also build scans for them. I thought I would go through and look at some things. Now, we all know what happened in the market yesterday, so I don't need to go over that. It's a pretty ugly day if you were looking at the Dow, or you were looking at anywhere but the Qs, or anywhere but Nvidia, I guess. And we talked about this on the Monday show. So, obviously make sure you're tuning in there, because I talked about that I was shorting the Dow into this week, and for some reasons of it. And that was essentially relative weakness. The Dow was weaker than everything else, so I took a short in there in order to make some trades. Now, the opposite comes when you see pullbacks like this in the market. All I did is I looked for, hey, show me stocks that are in uptrends, so showing that this cloud, that the 10 SMA is above the 20 SMA, and then show me stocks that are up for the day. Because if the stock was up yesterday, even if it's a little bit, I consider that bullish, considering everything that sold off. So number 1 here is Crocs, and I highlighted back on the chart the trade idea and how you trade around these clouds. You can see it spent some time at that first purple arrow above the cloud. It pulls back into it, it finds supports there, and it pushes higher. So we're kind of seeing the same thing here. We had a nice gap up after earnings. It pulled back into the clouds, had good relative strength yesterday. So if we get a move out of the cloud again, that's where I'm going to look at. And again, that cloud is going to be my signal to either stay involved or to stop myself out there as well. People still wear Crocs, I guess. Next one here is LRN. So LRN, we have the same kind of move. Again, I highlighted what happened last time. We had this green cloud signifying an uptrend, a pull back into the cloud, and then a bounce out. We had a great earnings day on this one as well. You can see that earnings yellow-blue line. We pull back into the cloud. We had a really strong day on LRN yesterday, considering, again, the bloodbath in the market. So I like the look of this one and any sort of continuation higher. Last but not least is Spotify. So I drew a couple boxes around here just to show the monthly chart in the lower left-hand corner. And our picture-in-picture chart shows the epic sell-off we had during the bear market in Spotify. And now we're back up near that high. But look at what would have happened if you waited for these clouds to turn green, stayed involved as long as they were green. That's what those 2 boxes are there. Pretty epic moves. And again, a positive day yesterday. It's holding that cloud as support. Maybe we get a continuation through monthly highs. So again, what we're trying to do, it's not going to be a magic indicator by any stretch of the imagination. It's a way for you to hopefully help visualize what's a trend? How far am I from the cloud? If I'm too far extended from it, maybe I need some sort of a pullback. But again, a simple way to visualize this is a trend. This is an area that I might want to look for a pullback. So if you're that kind of trend or pullback trader, definitely check that out. Make sure you use TraderTV20 for 20% off at checkout.
You made a, yes, do that. Go right now and do that. If you haven't seen something like that before, I mean, I think it's important, and you hit on it a little bit here, to highlight the simple fact that the simplicity of an idea like this also gives you the opportunity to apply it to many different time frames. You know, we get intraday trends, we get, week-long intraday type of trends moving in one direction, or as you were showing there, you can go out to a daily, can go out to a monthly even if you're more inclined to do more swing trade type of moves. Just hit on this again, Monday you said, or after the holiday, Tuesday, that should be available?
I'm hoping after the holiday.
Right.
It was one of those that it was supposed to come out this morning, but as anything with devs, you find a little bit of bugs, and they're just hammering that out. So I've been promised early next week, so make sure you pick up your version now. And you were right about the intraday chart. I actually forgot to include that. I was going to mention that. You should have seen this cloud on a 1-minute chart yesterday, just red all day below the cloud. It kept people in the trend the entire day. So yeah, for intraday traders, for swing traders, for long-term investors, again, just a nice way to visualize something that people use all the time, the moving average, and just making it a little bit more visually appealing and easier to identify these trends.
Yeah, like everything, I mean, make sure you do your homework and go get your copy of Trade Ideas. First of all, spend the weekend doing homework if they're able to. Trader TV 20, as you said, have a fantastic long weekend, Mr. Knox. We'll see you next week.
Talk to you next week.
Yes, thank you, Michael, as well. Looking forward to that new indicator. Get that cloud going next week on Tuesday.
Oh, I see what Michael did. He's using names like cloud and all that, pump the indicator up. It should be like an AI cloud indicator.
Smart. I like that.
Yeah, very smart. If it was an IPO, it would be ripping.
The only issue I have is he's like, maybe people still wear Crocs. Maybe people still wear Crocs.
There's a shit ton of people wearing Crocs.
I don't even know what to say to that. I have like 3 different pairs of Crocs. When I take my daughter to swimming, I've said this before, when I take my daughter to swimming, you can see all the kids and they have their deck shoes. 80% of them have Crocs. Like 60 to 70% of the parents that are there, because you can't wear your outdoor shoes, on the pool deck, they're in Crocs as well. Like, they are absolutely dominating. I see people in my neighborhood, anyone's cutting the grass outside, they're wearing Crocs.
Bad idea.
I know. I think it's a bad idea too. I wear shoes to do that because whatever, the grass gets itchy.
Yeah, you're supposed to wear steel toe.
You shouldn't do it, but that's what people do. I'm just saying, everybody owns Crocs. Everybody in my neighborhood. When we go to baseball, all the kids, when they take off their cleats, they're slipping into their Crocs for the car ride home. It is everywhere, and Crocs, the chart looks fantastic. So that's my 2-second rant.
I'm more of a Yeezy slides kind of guy, but I have 3 pairs of Crocs as well.
Of course you do.
Oh man, yeah, my family's all about slides, but again, Gia yesterday takes off her cleats and puts on her Crocs. So I don't know. The stock to me is a little overvalued, but it's up at a nice time. It's to buy that at 120 would have been nice. But Adara is wearing Crocs as we speak, so let's go over to the big screen.
No Crocs, but we do have some upgrades and downgrades. Upgrades here, starting the list. Wells Fargo upgrading DuPont with this 103 price target. Apple, this is an interesting one here. Wedbush raising its price target from 250 to 275, saying that they have high expectations for its AI, and they think they'll be able to improve their sales in China. So nice look there. Toast getting this upgrade also from Wedbush, and Mizuho upgrading NXP. On the downgrade side, we have Nvidia getting a downgrade here from DZ Bank with a price target of 1025. Certainly interesting given the strength that we've seen from Nvidia post earnings. Ryanair getting a downgrade from Deutsche Bank here. Ulta Beauty ahead of its earnings next week, getting this downgrade from Telsey Advisory Group. And last but not least, Workday down over 10% after its earnings and getting a downgrade from BMO Capital Markets.
I'm just curious how many upgrades there was a bunch of upgrades yesterday, but I'm sure there was also some upgrades on Nvidia to go with the downgrades. Randy, today it's Lucid that is cutting the workforce by 6%. So it continues. Rivian in the afternoon, the news came out that they're cutting prices. Yeah. How was that any good for them? What is going on? Can you even buy any of these things yet? I'm talking about EVs, obviously.
They've got to cut their costs somehow to survive. I mean, Rivian's burning cash. They've slowed down their cash burn, but you want to keep going? Cut the costs.
Ram says I'm supposed to do that. That's my one for the day.
Am I eating the mic now? They got to cut their cash burn. I mean, they're a startup. Let's face it. You know, they need to get their costs under control. Get that. What's the next model? The R2, R3 out the door. They have to, and this applies to everybody. Cut your costs. Yeah. Competition is stiff, and everybody's coming for your lunch. Get your shit together. Oh.
You can say that. Look, if you looked at a chart of any of these bad boys, and I think the sentiment is exactly true for any of the EVs. No, well, what is what it is. We keeping these bears today because yesterday, literally everything except for wheat and the semis were down. I'm a sideways today. Actually, in the aftermarket show, that's one of the things we talked about. I was expecting a lot less overall volatility than we had yesterday, and I think you're going to have.
Yesterday was crazy. It was just all over the map. Wow. So what's Costco doing?
I don't think it's down.
Oh, my wife messaged me. It's $12 off grilling steaks at Costco.
Ooh. Weekend
it's
steak?
up right now.
Let's see. Mm-hmm. Coffee?
Hey, I'll take another one. I got a lemon tea here with some honey, you know.
Lemon tea.
You know how it is. Yeah. Kyle Burnett asked if I've ever wore or owned steel toe boots. Oh, man. I worked in many, nothing. I've worked in many factories. I've come from like straight blue collar. Like you guys, it's funny that you see me here now, but like I worked in like cleaning in bakeries and factories growing up. You know, trying to make money throughout the summer, working at distribution warehouses and tons of crazy stuff, doing like shifts from like, you know, 11 at night to 7 in the morning. Like,
were you at SMCI
just
too?
Straight, no.
Oh.
Straight, I don't even know what that is. Straight grinding and stuff like that. Just going absolutely nuts. Like, that's where I come from. I don't come from this. Like, I don't, trading is very, very new to every single person in my family. I'm the son of an immigrant to this country. And I mean, you know, couldn't be prouder of, you know, the work ethic that I have now instilled in me by my father and my mother, and just seeing him go to work every single morning at like 3, 4 a.m. and grinding it out for us. I mean, this is what I do now for my kids. And yeah, so I still do have steel toe boots. And yeah, I wear those when I cut the grass. I've, you know, been around too many things and seen too many things. So this is what I do. But yeah, now it seems like we work at a money factory, but we work at what we always call a casino around here. But I feel like you have more advantages at a casino than you do maybe sitting here in front of this desk. But some days it's a good one, and some days it's not, but yesterday was one of those good ones, and we're gonna have to have good vibes here again today. I'm working on the note. We're gonna get that out very, very soon. Thanks, Randy. He's gonna reload that coffee. Yes. So yeah, there it is. Yeah, now I write sticky notes right from those days into these days. I don't know which one's better, but we're here now. It's 9 o'clock. Big guy's at the desk.
Yes.
One to the downside here this morning, just popping back up in front of me once again to the upside. In fact, Workday down more than 10% coming off their report after the close last night, just bounced off 230. A little bit of an uptick here. Not seeing anything to cause that, but earnings disappointing to say the least here. There's a ton as well of negative analyst moves here on Workday, WDAY today.
Yeah, I didn't really have an opportunity to look at that, but I put it on the upgrades and downgrades, well over 10%. I was telling Neil in the morning, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. Very big company, guys, about $63 billion. Surprised me with how big this was, so not a good look for them. We'll keep eyes.
Yeah, high on the volume scale this morning as well. I mean, there's not a lot on the volume scale, to be honest, but WDAY, definitely one of those. Let's get going here. Let's have a look at the overall market, and then we'll get into everything you need to know heading towards the open on a Friday.
52.85, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday, below 5,300. Today we were at 5,300 as we speak, with the overnight high being 53.05. If we hold 5,300, let's go ahead and say that 53.25 is going to be that level of resistance. We were using that as a level of support for a few days. So let's see if it acts as resistance. If we break below 5,300, look for that 52 2/3 to be that support level.
Still plenty to understand as we get into the Friday session here. If you haven't done so, go to the website, tradertv.live, wait for that pop-up, and then enter your email address. You get the watch list from us for free every single day. Nvidia, top of said watch list today. On the back of this China note, I mean, not really causing too much of a move. There was a slight, ever so slight gap to the downside. If you zoom out early enough this morning, we're right back up and then some, though, better part of full percent. But yeah, apparently this China-specific, or the top-end version of the China-specific chip that they came up with to get around the U.S. and Chinese sanctions, or not sanctions, but regulations, not doing as well as they thought it would, to a point where they're talking price cuts.
Well, remember, China actually came out and gave their companies guidance, says don't buy American chips. So, I mean, maybe it's a response to that. We'll have to keep eyes on that. I know that Nvidia and AMD both created China-specific chips to get around the Biden embargo with respect to that. So I want to be looking at AMD today, the aggression with which it sold off yesterday, a possible bounce today. So keep eyes on both, I guess.
Yeah, not a huge price cut. They're talking about 10%. Just to try and compete here, but definitely the word like oversupply, or words like oversupply, definitely not what you want to hear here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, look, it's not ideal. That said, I mean, all of the big chip makers here have had that trouble with China. Some of that you got to feel is going to be a little bit baked in. I don't know how concerned I am over that story. Ultimately, I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to call it a nothing burger because China's obviously a big market. We know that a lot of Chinese companies are trying to look for alternatives inside, but the performance isn't going to be as good. So, you know, I still think Nvidia long term is going to win, and they'll probably figure a way to at least maintain some market share out in China. That said, the strength was ridiculous. I don't know how many times we can say it in terms of looking at levels. Like when you have a clear breakout and the stock goes into blue skies and all-time highs and all that good stuff, like there's no levels to work off. If you're into like Fibonacci's or something, you can probably find some dip levels. But in the morning, it's simple. It broke out at 10:20. It held 10:20 in the afternoon. Where it closed sometimes can be something in here like between 10:35. I'm already trying to say it's like $100. Between 10:35 and 10:40, that would be another place to look for it. But I'm kind of looking for some continued strength in this name. If there's a chip name that I'm going to go short today, it's the pattern on ARM at the 50 period that I mentioned before that I like. And I just mean ARM was failing the 50 period on the daily, the simple. 7 days in a row, I think. It's 6 or 7 days in a row. It gets up there, makes a turn, and then you just look to short it as a bit of a trend. So I'd rather do that where the trend has been and then just look for dip buys in Nvidia. AMD is kind of in the... For me, it's in a bit of a no man's land in here. Like, yeah, sure, if it trades down and around the bottom, that could turn into double bottom support. Even if it pops up, like, is there anywhere I like it short? You can maybe make an argument for the 164, 165, but you're pretty much smack dab in the middle. Whereas I know when I look at ARM, I definitely like the short the pop because it's right at that 50 period on the daily. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Mr. Randy. Cheers. All right, let's just keep everything real here. Yesterday, Nvidia was the #2 P&L name, and it was one trade, and it was just right here. So you guys were all watching me in the afternoon trade this. It was the only trade I had on this all day. This is a 50-period moving average. Bounce, bounce. Thought it was overdone at the end of the day. We saw that pullback in the market. We saw some recovery from AMD off 160. We felt good about Nvidia. We knew we wanted the long all day. I talked about with the guys in the back here. I was asked, how did you play Nvidia? And how would you play it? And I was as honest as I could be. And I said, you got to wait for these pullbacks. I said, there was a pullback into VWAP early that I wrote down that I would take, and I didn't. So I was mad about that. And then all of a sudden, I said to myself, we weren't trading it here. I wasn't even, this is this VWAP pullback could have been taken for sure, and it would have worked. So there's one pullback, 40s up to 48s. But then it got pretty choppy around there. I think you might have lost if you would have traded it in and around. But remember, the market was coming down pretty dramatically there. So to go long would have been a little bit of a risk. But then once we saw everything turn itself around right into here, and we took that 50-period moving average, we said to ourselves, here, breaks, comes back, breaks, comes back. So when it broke, I just put in an order to take long. And I said, if it breaks and comes back, our stop, as you guys remember, was 28. I think it was $3 or $4 on a 31 break. It wound up going 31s to 41s, $10, and we actually got some out up here. So we actually, I think our best out was 238s, because when it broke out, when it broke down, we got out. So we wound up taking $7 when risk 3 or 4. That made a lot of sense to us on that break. Then it faded off at the end of the day, and it is what it is. So for me and Nvidia today, it'll be very, very simple. Either we come back into some of this level here, 1030, 1025, and we look at it seriously, or we just watch to figure out which direction it is, and then trade VWAP accordingly. So it'll probably be a pass for me, honestly, real early on Nvidia. But AMD is a completely different beast. I'm still thinking about what to put on here. I'll get the sticky note out in a minute. I know everybody's bugging me about it. AMD right here. This is the one for me today. I know it's pulling back right now. We're going to have to watch the futures. I don't necessarily want to be long if the futures are coming in, but 160 to me looks pretty good. It was yesterday's close. We say, get that garbage out of here, all the way down here. So we'll say that was nice. A lot of indecision. I mean, if this is not indecision down here, I mean, look at how choppy come on. The buyers and sellers back and forth here. Buyers win, sellers win. Who wins? Who wins? Who wins? Boom, up to the upside to close at 160. So I'm going to respect 160, say, down here, no one knew what to do. Well, I know what to do right here, and that is to try to buy this dip. So let's wait to see what happens in and around 160, but that's going to be a key level for me. That is my number one trade today. Watching AMD, trying to find that bottom, and if we can find it, I think it'll be in and around that 160 area. So it's comeback season for AMD today. I don't think it should have been down that much yesterday, but it does make sense why. Nvidia is just the best. So everyone's going over to Nvidia, selling off AMD. AMD's gotten hit on the daily chart pretty bad, and it's still under the 50-period moving average. So I don't absolutely love the long, but I think it's worth a trade. We're here to trade. So that's one that I'm going to put on.
An easy stock to trade. Let's go on to cryptocurrencies here. Ethereum itself downside a little bit here this morning, coming off the decision from the SEC to, I guess, clear the path for applications to be submitted for these Ethereum-based ETFs. This is the strategy ETF, so EETH, the Ethereum strategy ETF. There was a Bitcoin one similar before the actual spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved. Same thing happened when the Bitcoin spot ETFs were approved. Downside for this, very volatile after the close yesterday. But I guess they can now, but nothing actually has come through yet.
Yeah, the rule allows the creation of spot ETFs, but doesn't actually approve any specifically. But the decision to allow it coincides with the Van Eck application deadline, which was yesterday. So just to draw some comparisons here, when the Bitcoin spot ETF got approved, $12 billion of net inflows are coming in. Expected to be a little bit less here with Ethereum. Reason being, it may not include the staking part of things. So staking, which is when you earn interest on locked coins, may not be included in the ETF, so expected to have a little bit less inflows.
Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't much to do in this world yesterday as far as individual stocks are concerned, guys. But crypto across the board, even some of the smaller coins, a little bit weak here today.
Yeah, so the applications that are going in now are not going to have staking in them. It doesn't mean it won't eventually be the case, but the ones now aren't going to be there. The Coinbase was interesting in and of that. Well, I mean, everything fell yesterday. That wasn't Nvidia. We keep saying it. And then right at the close, there was a sell event on pretty much all of crypto. I guess when you got to the end of the day, and there hadn't been an announcement yet, although it came, I don't know, like an hour and a half later or something like that. You had a bit of a sell-off. But what ended up happening, at least over here, is a nice little wick bottom through 220. I mean, it doesn't show up as a big wick bottom through 220. If I put up like a 60-minute, that's what you would see. and then a hold of that level. So if we're actually holding on to any kind of gains, it's kind of like an over-under on coin. Like if it holds the open on 220, I think you could have a rally. But if it's underneath, it's not something that I would want to fight. But I wanted to, there was a question about something that somebody saw on Alibaba, and I know everyone's always looking at charts. The charts are our window to the market, and you look for patterns on them and all that good stuff. And sometimes you'll see something like this and say, oh my goodness, look at what must be happening at yesterday's close on Alibaba. It's a brick wall at 80.80. If it breaks 80.80, this is gonna absolutely run because someone's selling it. None of those prints actually, well, I don't wanna say none of them, but I haven't seen a single one of these 80.80 prints on Alibaba that actually happened in the market this morning. They are all simply D prints. So like you see this big 30,000 just out of nowhere. It's like it's trading at 45. There's one at 80. It's a D print. It's just an overnight dark pool, and it's reporting at the previous close price. And it's been doing it all morning long. So you got to be careful, because if you see this on a stock and you like the level, oh goodness, this could be a really good breakout because there's a seller holding it down, and there isn't one. Those are just D pool prints. So it is of use to have a time and sales up to be able to see what's actually going on in the market on a stock. So you don't confuse that with a key level.
All right, yeah, so I have ETHE here. I'm going to get the sticky note out. It is on there today for sure. I said this to Fabian yesterday. I've got my ear to the ground like this whole week, and we nailed it for, again, one of the best trades of the week was going long through this. Or was it last week? I don't know. It was when it was 26 and it started to blast up. We were able to get that early and wound up taking $3. It was a monster trade, and I feel that we're at the top now. I mean, we can see where we are, 3,700. I mean, the top is 41. I'm just glued to waiting for news. So I'm not going to sit here and look at the chart and tell you I go long here or go long there. I'm just waiting for news. So this is a play that, you know, continue to watch. I mean, there's reasons why we have these numbers down here, and why I'm looking at them every single day. I have a dedicated level 2 screen to Ethereum, and I'm going to be watching out for that all day just in case something breaks. So let's wait to see if there's a story, but that's my play there on ETHE.
Let's go on. Apple, Wedbush coming out this morning with a positive note. Surprise, price. Was it Dan Ives? I didn't even read. Yeah, of course it was. Price target hike coming through, maintaining outperform for Apple. Did you buy the dip yesterday?
I didn't.
I did not.
No. I have
Still time.
Yeah, there is. I dipped into 186 yesterday.
Yeah.
Not a bad look. Look, guys, he is predicting a super cycle for the iPhone 16, which will be interesting because it'll be 10 years to the day since we had the biggest upgrade supercycle, which was the iPhone 6s. You'll recall that's when Apple switched from the smaller screens into the larger ones, and that precipitated a lot of buying. So we'll have to wait and see this September or October exactly how the consumer reacts, but that's what Dan Ives is looking for.
Yeah, they were talking a little bit about China as well, pointing towards a bounce back in that market for the next version coming up here. But I mean, you and I were talking the simple fact that they need to come up with something different, something new, something shiny once again. And yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
They should probably start with Siri, Brando, because she's horrible.
Yeah, agree.
That's a hint. I've said this with regards to Google. I think it's true of like Google Home. It's going to be true of Alexa. It's going to be true of Siri as well. Everybody knows they're all getting updates so that they can go full AI, and that's all going to be coming in the next year or so. So when you're working on the next, the current tends to not be as good. There's not much focus on it. It gets a little bit more buggy. So I would see that as, it's kind of a weirdly good sign, an oddly good sign, because that means that they're projecting and putting the efforts into what is the next iteration and not focusing on, not focusing on energy and patching up the old dog. So look, Apple, like everything else, was a big dip to the downside. I actually like, we'll get to Meta. I actually like Meta a little bit more today than Apple, but it is what it is. Apple 187, if you go back to the gap up, 187 was the top, 187 was the bottom yesterday, so 187 is the support level that I would like. A bit of a wick candle in there that's not showing up in my 3-minute. That's much better. So 187 was the bottom. I think that's where you go for the long. It was a key. I love those post-earnings or post-gap support and resistance levels when they start holding up, and 187 just proved that it held. yesterday. I might like the support level on Meta a little bit better, but when we get to Meta, I'll show you why. But Apple 187 looks good. It's just underneath Meta on my list.
All right, Apple is the #1 trade idea on the sticky note today, and it's going to go out right now. Buying these dips in Apple are going to work. It's just a matter of what level. So for me, I wrote down, I don't know where the market's going to be right here when we open up. I don't think we want to go long immediately or anything like that. Apple probably doesn't have a huge move into it today. So I am thinking that we are going to have to look somewhere in and around 186. But that's the level that I wrote down. I don't know if we get there or not, but that's the level. I want to play dip buys there on Apple. I think this is one of the strongest names in the market to go ahead and buy. Obviously, we've just talked about a few other strong names, but I like it. I feel like the tailwinds are just so strong for AI, and I think you buy the name, man. Wedbush gives it the upgrade. No reason to stay away from this. It's triple the market right now. It's Apple. It's your #1 idea.
All right, let's go on to Tesla. A couple of minor headlines coming through this morning. One on the China side of things. Elon was talking yesterday about going to the moon in
7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years. Production in China was down slightly. Apparently, some data was showing that it wasn't small. It was about 20%, they were saying, across the board for Model Ys coming out of China. But Elon also saying yesterday people need to start, we've talked about this before, valuing the company as not merely just an automaker, but more on the tech and AI side as well.
Yeah, I really feel like analysts have been doing that. As of late, we've been hearing analysts say this for years, Brendo, that it's a tech company, it's not a car company. The reason for the decline in sales, obviously, we know the price war that he's engaged in with other Chinese electric vehicle makers. There's also the weakness in the Chinese economy because of the weakening real estate market there. But as Brendo said, affects about 20% decline in sales from March to June. It's unclear if this extends to other models like the Model 3. They're still looking at selling 2 million cars globally, Brendo, by the end of this year. And they did recently cut the Model 3 and the Model Y prices in China by up to 6%. So
yeah,
margins.
Perspective, I think, is key too. If you zoom out a little bit on Tesla's chart, we just gave back Tuesday, essentially. It was a massive day on Tuesday, and we just gave that back. So we're right back to the beginning of the week, essentially.
Yeah, well, you could take that a step further back and then say the end of last week, same levels as well. So 173 has been the bottom, with the exception of the 16th. You did have one little wick underneath, which just really set up like a reverse head and shoulders, and then look when that broke it out. So you have this nice little dip, and then you get a double bottom again, and it broke it back out. Bounced off on Tuesday, off to the races, found support again at 173. So if it holds 173, it's a long. I think that's pretty simple. And even if you break 73, you had the similar setup at 71 on Tesla. Throw that, and it's like if you like something else about it down here for support, it also happens to be the 50-period simple on the daily. So it looks pretty good on the daily chart as well for support off of that level. So you go out on multiple time frames, and it's going to support 71 and 73 for dip buys on Tesla. Only because it's related. There was this story yesterday of Rivian reducing prices. Not going to be a good thing for them. They're losing money. Everybody's losing money when they sell, and they're not really making enough in the first place to sell. But this has been riding the $10 level for quite some time. You go a couple of weeks out. These are not identical charts, but it looks eerily similar. If Rivian loses 980 today, it's got a sizable gap. The difference in Tesla, if it loses 73, it's like 72's right there. That's 1%. If this loses 980, the last bounce it had was 60 pennies lower, which is almost 7% to the downside. So Rivian's under pressure. It's up 1% now, but if this breaks underneath 980 and it's a red day, I'd start looking shorts. That said, right now it's bouncing, so it wasn't on the list because it was holding strength, and it just continues to hold this $10 level. But I prefer buying the dip off those Tesla levels, but I will have my eyes on Rivian if we do end up losing $9.80.
I looked at Tesla today, and for me, it's just a puff pass. I don't. It's kind of just at those levels again. I'm not even sure if I like the long. I think we do. It's up 0.7. I wasn't sure about the story today. 173.50, like cutting that production in the Model Y in China. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the market right here is trying to make this stock bump. Like, I don't know, we were just at 174, now up to 175 and change. So it's starting to go right here. I think Tesla's a long, we've talked about this, overneath, above this 50-period moving average. We only went underneath it once right there about a week and a half ago, dipped into 167 and it was bought back immediately. As Brendan said, we've covered up the whole week again, but we're still at this nice little area to go long, I feel like, down there. So I'm just gonna try to be patient with Tesla today, try to get the bottom if there is one. I don't have any like targets to do anything on this stock. I don't know. We know we like to trade it when the story seems to be something, and I just don't know what to think about it today. So if anything, a 176 maybe break long if the market really goes, and that could be something early. I would rather just play this range. If it wants to sit down here around 174, then let's go. You know, I'll be there for it. Like, why would I not buy if it's into here? That, to me, I'm a simple man. I mean, this is very, very simple stuff. The more you try to complicate trading, this is why you'll see me trade 4 or 5 names today. It's what I've been doing ever since basically the last year or so. Definitely changing up the style and taking what I feel like are the best trades and just taking them as much as I can. So we're gonna wait to see if we get a solid base down here for Tesla. I think we can get it, 173, 174, it bases out, let's go.
Quickly on Eli Lilly, just seeing a note here is on their weight loss drug, their GLP-1 drug. It didn't do anything, like very, very quiet here in the pre-market, but they're going to spend $5.3 billion to up production of this GLP-1 drug for LLY. So one to keep an eye on today. Yeah, Meta with an AI headline, kind of. It was more analysts suggesting the simple fact that everyone else has not only a subscription-based or a paid version of AI at this point, but also a free one. Where's Meta? You were just saying that attached to social media platforms, not really a use at this point?
No, they put it kind of in the Instagram search bar, in the Facebook search bar, and they kind of want you to use it like that. So once you log into those apps, you can have access to the AI. I personally don't use it for that reason. I've tried it a couple of times. Really nothing thorough. Hasn't really impressed me. But as you said, really, the reason they're coming out is they're saying some of their competitors are charging up to $20 a month. So they're looking to get paid on this as well. No specifics as to what it's going to include, how much it's going to cost, or what the release date is going to be.
Quiet start overall, though, price-wise, guys, for Meta.
I will admit to using it for WhatsApp. You know, ever since they put it in there free, it's just the level of convenience because I'm communicating with like all of my family, my daughter's baseball team, all the coaches and the parents are in there as well. So if I'm already opening it, sometimes I'm just gonna ask, like wherever I happen to be is where I'm gonna ask the AI that's available to me. So I think that makes total sense. And when they're all eventually when everybody's paying for some semblance of it, everybody's in something that Meta does. So they're going to end up paying for it, and Meta's going to make the money. I like this support level on Meta. Come to the chart for a second. We got 460 to 462. It's once, twice, 3 times. You could call it almost 5 times this month. It's bounced off of that level. Not every time has it gotten all the way back into like 475, 480. It did get there one time. But support looks pretty good down here out in front of that 460 to 462. So if we do dip, I'm just looking for longs in front of there. And I think the difference, sometimes you get like too fixated on like that round number. It's a support level. It can bounce 50 cents in front. It could bounce 50 cents underneath. It's really just about for the dip buy, be patient enough to allow it to make that setup. And the example I'm going to give for what I'm looking for on Meta is going to be what happened in TSM yesterday, where it went all the way down to 156, which I didn't think was going to be incredibly likely. But once it bounced, let me go to a 3-minute, it's a little bit easier to see. Once it actually bounced off of 156, like you can see it's dropping. You like the 56 level, it bounced. And then on the way up, try to catch it. And it made a bottom at 11 o'clock, or close to it, made a pretty big rally. Actually, Chris Brecher, his mystery trade was he was short at the open off of TSM. And was a fantastic one, and then he took a reshort in here off of the 160 level around when Nvidia started to fall over. But if you see the move happen, it gets to your level, Sometimes it bounces exactly. Allow the buyers to come in, show signs of a bottom, either at the price that you want. If it's out in front, look for signs of a turn, like higher lows, consolidation, something other than the falling knife. Because when you get it on the falling knife, especially in the first 5 or 10 minutes, like those, they look great when they work, but the reality is most of the worst trades also start that way.
All right, for me, Meta is a short, obviously, until we break above the 50-period moving average. So I'm going to just look at it like that. I mean, this 472 area, I was thinking if we get anywhere near there, that's looking like a good short to me. We did pop its head above and almost got to 475 there, or we did. I mean, I love trading Meta, and I trade it not all the time, but often enough. The one stock I haven't traded recently, which was my #1 stock for couple years, was Microsoft. But Meta right here, 472, I like that short. So yeah, they're in everything. Meta has probably been one of my best trades of all time, buying as much as I could down there at 100, 120, and so on and so forth. I know Sharif was in that trade with me, and it's just been amazing, and I want to buy more dips. So, I mean, we sold it up here, remember? On earnings, and we nailed that one, but we weren't able to buy it back there because I just didn't catch that move all the way back. So I'm almost thinking that now is a decent time to put this capital back to work. I just think the market could fade into July. So we'll talk about that later too. So yeah, Meta for me is a sell at these levels. You know, for a day trade, I think I'll buy it and start to think a little better above 480.
So we're talking about the measured move all week long. Today is the last day for the measured move lessons. Today we're going to talk about combining the measured move with other indicators. So check that out with Adair and I on How to Trade at 11.
So we got about 3.5 minutes to go till the open. We'll get to the imbalances when they start dropping. NASDAQ will drop at 928, and we'll see some of those. There was a story in the afternoon on GitLab where they had a security breach that compromised accounts, the user accounts. It did end up bouncing off of 56, a pretty key level. So, you know, I said last night if we broke down underneath 56, I'm going to want this trade, thinking they're under pressure. I like the level. It already had a nice little flat bottom feel to it. It's gapping above on very light volume. So it's still going to be in play for me, but with this light volume, I'll have to see the open and not just automatically punch short. Like I did say in the afternoon, hey, I'm going to like this break of the low, but you know, a difference a day makes. The market, slight bounce to the upside, and not a lot of pre-market action here to be able to sink your teeth into. But if we do break that down and start holding under after the open, not one that I'm going to sleep on because of that news story. And then there's one more. Boeing's been under a tremendous amount of pressure lately. I don't think I have to tell anybody that. I think the biggest loser in the Dow yesterday was actually Boeing. Entirely possible, at least that's what I heard. It broke under the 50 period. It broke underneath recent support, pretty much everything you could find. And this support was at about 175 change on the daily. So Boeing back into those levels. Also in the afternoon, it actually was a good short at those same prices, like 175 half, 176. So if that pops up into there, Boeing, I would look to short pops in that particular name. So we said 928, the imbalances would come out. That every single day, this G wave is there for like 1 million shares pre-market. It's a penny stock. It's a pretty insignificant number. Nothing big here that I see. That AST. Some people keep asking about that ASTI. That's also a penny stock. So early look imbalances for the open. Nothing much unless you are into that penny stock G wave, which it did move yesterday. I kind of wrote it off. I had like a 30% move, but that was like 7 to 11 cents. It's back down at 9. So not a heck of a lot to look at. You're still going to be looking at the chips first, I think. I like Tesla, going to be involved in that one. ARM as well. Oh, I forgot to mention DraftKings. DraftKings also had positive news, and there was that 40 level that held. Again, pretty quiet pre-market. Volumes have been light, but it's at 41, so the 40 dip is pretty unlikely.
All right, it's only 1 minute now to the U.S. market open. So what could hit first for us? So remember, the #1 trade is TQQ, and we nailed that yesterday. It was my #1 trade yesterday. I said it was the #1 P&L trade of the month on Trader TV Live. both ways. We had it long and short on the TQs. So that was a good trade for us. We had this short here into the market. So if there's no ideas today that pop off right away, I'll be looking in and around that. But I feel like AMD will be something. I don't have any pending orders right now. We will try to take it a little slow off the open because although I'm thinking it's comeback season for AMD, it may not be. And I don't want to get burned early like we did yesterday on Tesla. Shout out to Bala there in the chat. And I respect what you're saying. And that's real trader mentality. You know, so congratulations to everybody that has that tiger blood in them. Okay, here we go, guys. It's not everybody, man. This business is not for everybody. You can probably see that every day. 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. All right, 161. Let's now see what happens with AMD. Ha, psych, I'm in right now. No, I'm not. We're going to wait to see what move comes through with AMD. A nice push down in the market, down to 18,750. Remember, we're waiting for market on open imbalances to have effect. Palantir, we didn't get to this one. This has been bad for the last little while, trending to the downside, waiting for $20 to hit on that. Nvidia bouncing down a little bit off 1050, I guess, there in the pre-market, trying to find base out now at 1040. Let's zoom out just a little bit to watch these charts as we get to go. Lily got that press release correct.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, I mean, not a heck of a lot at the open happening right here. I just looked at DraftKings. That's going to the upside. It was a late one that I mentioned, that $40 level on DKNG. You're seeing it absolutely ramp. So the dip buy on DraftKings seems almost entirely unlikely. GitLab was another we're looking for fade. 24,000 shares worth of volume at the open, so we really need that one to calm down a little bit. Nvidia nowhere near those key prices that we talked about in the 20s as well. And ARM, which is for me, going to be a short the pops in ARM. Wow, my chart's a little slow today. ARM just went down $1.50. So it was not my plan of action to chase this. I was looking to short it off of resistance, first the 14 and then the 17. So we're going to have to be a little bit patient here off of the open. Adara?
Keep an eye out for PDD here. Pinduoduo bouncing right off the open, up 4.5%. They did have earnings a few days ago, and Goldman Sachs now upgrading them to buy rating with a $184 price target. So great look for PDD to start the day, guys.
All right, AMD's coming into that 160 level. We still have our ear to the ground here about Ethereum or anything like that. We'll be looking at ETHE over there on the OTC market. Shout out to our good friend Jeff Mendel, who we'll be going golfing with next Friday. That should be fun. All right, Apple 186. Let's just have a quick check to see if that's coming in at all. Not even close. Apple, as though the market not really moving too much, and Apple kind of holding fort right here at 188.50. Let's wait for that. I think this is going to be a long for sure at some point there today for me. Amazon 180. Whoa, it did go to 181 there. Okay, dip down opportunity there on Amazon for sure into 181. So that could have been something. And it's too bad because yesterday I would be long already on AMD, probably down here. But today we're being a little more patient with it. So let's give that another chance right now. Why are people talking about Neo?
Neo? I was about to, there's a halt right off of the bat here, and my halt page is taking a second. It's BTDR, it's a better choice, is halted, but this is actually, it's an immediate volatility halt. So M code, there's no resumption time, so just assume 3 minutes here. To the upside, it's halted after breaking from $5 to $7. Don't know if there's any news on that stock. Nvidia is starting to come down a little bit more, so you're starting to see it get down into that 1030 range. Check that 1038 range. Nowhere near that 1025. As you mentioned, AMD trying to load up here. Let's go. Down around that 160. So it's getting close to yesterday's bottoms, just not quite there. Yeah, trying to be patient. Again, I feel like not being patient was a mistake yesterday. Neo's doing nothing. I just checked. It's flat. I mean, it just went up like 10 cents, I guess. It's not that big of a move.
Okay, oh man, I'm getting excited a little bit about Apple. I mean, I'm thinking about if we take some, I mean, AMD is a great call off that 160. We just don't have it today. We're trying to be a little bit different and be a little more cautious with what we're trying to do. We talked a little bit about that there yesterday. So 189.25, that high yesterday was, that's 192, sorry, I'm looking right here, 189.50. So the 50 period moving average is 189.25. So I think we'll try a break long through there if we're able to try if we're able to get that. So let's give that a shout and see if we can hit it. Apple 189.25, a play I'm looking at right now. So I'm going to put that in and see if we can get a break there as the Nasdaq's trying to get a little bit longer here.
Yeah, it's starting to look really strong. I mean, Tesla I like for a dip buy. Tesla's just stair-stepping it to the upside, but nothing too crazy yet. It's still barely above 175. I don't want to be chasing that move. I see what's happening, and some people have been mentioning the meme stocks. So GameStop moving a little bit, AMC with like a slight break to the upside, but that's not enough to get you excited just yet. I still think you need more than that. This thing needs to break like $5. Snow's making a power move to the upside.
Oh.
Yeah, but the other thing is Li Auto's held on to that $20 level. So I only think this is a short underneath 20. It was right at 20. Look at that, 5% up. Sharif's probably going to be happy about that. But Snowflake making a move. None of the stocks I want are at the levels, and at least I'm trying to be patient with it. No, Snowflake.
Oh, what? He's in Snowflake now?
No, he actually. We were talking with him about he's thinking about getting back into Li Auto.
Oh,
this morning.
okay.
So if he did, then he's up. If he didn't, then ignore what I'm saying. Snowflake just made a $2 move to the upside, so this rebound play is in. Remember, Snowflake did tick down 10%. No, it didn't. No, it's not SSR because it wasn't the close price. So it might not be SSR, but it's a good recovery bounce. Call it a dead cat bounce here on Snowflake. Watch out for Palantir as well, because a lot of times that'll go on sympathy.
Yeah,
all right, here comes a bit of a dip in DraftKings. If I'm going to get involved, might be finally getting an opportunity here.
All are at the dips. Okay, right now, yeah, we did not get that break on Apple, although it did come pretty close, which is just sort of makes it fine for me because I am down for trying to grab anything here on Apple. You know, a pullback into VWAP could also be something right now. It's 9:36, so I'm getting a little antsy here that maybe thinking about trying to make a trade at some point. But for right now, we're just chilling, 189 and change. I'm still trying to watch AMD 161.50 right there, Micron 127. Quickly, ETHE, let's have a quick look over there. We've kind of left it alone a little bit, haven't seen anything. It's 3,700. You can see this is what it's looking like right now. Still like the stock, lots of liquidity, easier to get in and out of now because there's so much news around it. So watch out for Ethereum trying to make some moves. Is Uber moving a little bit here on a note?
Sharif, look at Li Auto.
165. Neil wants to know if you bought Li Auto. Did not. Okay.
Wow.
So nice move up for Uber right now. Straight upside for Uber, starting to go 63.50, 64.50. Pull up for Uber right now. Could be a decent short up there. Let's see what it does. Still waiting for Apple, which is now pulling back. The market's trying to pull back as well. Potentially this is Nvidia because AMD just moved down.
Nvidia is going lower.
Yeah, okay, it's trying to go lower. All right, maybe it is time to buy Apple then at this level, bouncing off that 50 period. But here we come into the futures right now. What's up, Adara?
We have One MedNet, ONMD, this one moving to the upside again. This is a small cap runner. Right now approaching the $2 level, up about 32%. Still trading on yesterday's catalyst. The company highlighting its five-fold expansion of its network and platform, guys.
Oh, man.
Yeah, strong move there. I believe Better is open after its halt. I'm just, I got my locates on ARM. It looks like it's a stair step down, which means, okay, evaluate the trade for you're not going to get the 114 off the open. It broke to the lows. Yesterday's close was at 112.5. Pre-market lows were around there as well. So I want to short the pop back into that level. DraftKings, oh, you're going to get away from me here. I was just looking for that dip in DraftKings. So 41, I wanted 40. You see it break higher, dip back into the 41 is going to have to be the play. There was that
we were
news
coming in.
yesterday regarding taxation on betting, which was positive for them in a single state. But it was still good news, and it made a nice bounce on the daily chart, triple bottom on the daily chart for DraftKings. That's the other reason we like it.
All right, I'm going to get a little bit with it here on Apple. We'll try to buy some of these dips. Oops, that's Elf Cosmetics. Oh yeah, by the way, wife always wins. Like she messaged yesterday on the chat in the show to buy Elf Cosmetics to me, and that was at I was just looking at it. That was 160.
180?
180.
180.
195.
Always
Yeah. So shout out right there to Marissa. You're in the money 20%. Damn, girl. Hope you took that. All right, so 188. Look, it's like a lot of traders, right? Like you can call shots, but if you don't have them in your account, then who cares? I don't have it, but shout out to Marissa for that one. Damn, I said that was going to be my trading strategy too, right? Buy
What's more of an
whatever
investing strategy, I thought you said.
Yeah, investing. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I don't know if
investing's
I
different from trading.
might have been able to get it out now. Yeah, no, but I'll trade out of that. Like we traded out of Starbucks. Okay, right
Well,
here.
Nvidia's
Yeah, here comes Apple. Let's go. Let's spin it. We'll go 1 for 1, as we said, if we can hold on to this 188. But you just mentioned Nvidia because AMD is also coming down. So these trades may not last that long if the semis come back in. But right now we're just in the money, 20 cents or so on Apple. Let's see where we go.
Wow, Tesla is really starting to go. It's up 1% now, so it's just still stair step. I did get DraftKings out in front of 41, just got 41.11. I think a lot of people are looking at that move down in Nvidia. No break of 1030. I like 25 to 20, and it doesn't quite get there. When it's falling, the mistake yesterday on AMD was getting in too early and not allowing it to trend down into the level that we like, so I don't want to make that same mistake. Yes, I see AMC is moving, but it's right back into those lows. So AMC right back in. If it can make a higher low and start trending a little bit better to the upside, I might get involved in that. It feels like they're a little bit asleep, in my estimation. Rivian is not necessarily, there we go. It's following Tesla in that it's holding the bombs. Come on, chart. And the $10 level has held, at least for now. So as long as Tesla's going up, 10's been a good level for Rivian. Long 4 days in a row if you took it in the morning. So if we get back down there, maybe like a 10:01, 10:02 is going to come into play. I am in DraftKings, the position board not updating.
Yeah, I'm in Apple. Maybe
Can we restart the position board, guys? Yeah.
Oh, they just did.
Awesome.
Okay, I'll be out of Apple's. Yeah, okay, good, thanks. I'll be out of Apple, not out of Apple, I have some offers up here. We just bounced off the 50-period moving average, so now I'm waiting at 35. I was actually at 39, where it was before, but now it's at 35. So the only position I have right here is long Apple, 188.12, Adara.
Keep an eye on Maris NV here, MRUS. This one does have a $2.5 billion market cap, so on the smaller side. Short float of just over 5%. Trading higher, up about 25% right now after announcing that they're going to be publishing this abstract for this cancer treatment ahead of the annual Society of Cancer Oncology meeting. Guys.
Okay.
Better's about to go into a down halt now, so what goes up? Yeah, that is now correct. Thank you very much, Ramin. Better is now halting down after 1 to the upside, 594. It's right back in here, so it's absolutely, well, I don't want to call it pandemonium, but just be careful trading this. It might do multiple halts. I think when they calm down, they're a little bit better off the open. So dip bot on DraftKings over the afternoon top and that $41 level. If it fails underneath here, I want to give this one to about 40.80 or so on DKNG. So just going to let this one start to calm down a little bit as the market's still very much inside the range. You haven't had too big movement. I mean, if anything, Nvidia, that dip to 1030 was maybe the most extreme thing I've seen happen on a large cap name. Still haven't gotten short in ARM. We're trying to be patient getting it off the top. And then watch out again. I know the meetings are trying to go. If they can bounce and maybe break out those highs, I might get over to them. But for now, sticking with DraftKings, waiting on ARM short.
Okay. I mean, we were just trying to be patient with it. It went down to 160. I saw everybody in the chat. AMD's at 160, Sean. That's your level. Yeah, it went to 160. It's now up $3. I mean, what are we supposed to do other than take that trade, and we didn't do it? But you know what? I don't know. We're in Apple, and it's starting to go upside. This was, I mean, I'll take this. I'll take this. Like I said, I mean, I'll take AMD over this. This is 30 cents. But still, you know, at least we're in this trade. It's a winner. Let's just see what we can get. I mean, I want to get these big winners on board, and we should have taken that AMD. I mean, we looked at it, we talked about it. We called the comeback season for AMD. There it is. It's ripping. I mean, we nailed it. We nailed the rhetoric. We nailed the call. Everything like that. We just don't have it on. And I said that, so it doesn't matter. If you don't have the trade on, you don't have it on, right? And so we looked at it down there at 160. I just hope a lot of you are part of, and I know a lot of you are part of Sticky Note Nation, and hopefully took that trade. So down there at 160, there it was, given to you. Hopefully you're in it. I was nervous about it just because I thought it was too early in the day. But there's AMD, and again, trust thyself, and we should do that. And that's okay. Yeah, no, absolutely no FOMO because, like I said, we're still here and we are completely fine. And we had basically all the best trades yesterday were for me are basically in the afternoon anyways. So no, it's all good. I'm going to still be here. That's just $3, and all it does is just it's a pat on the back. You know, you called that level. I mean, we're the ones putting out the levels and sticking our neck out and taking the trades that we put on here. So we should have continued to do that, but today we'll just wait out and we'll hold Apple. I mean, this is a fine trade. For me, we'll see where we can go on AAPL from here, and then we'll look at PLTR as well. I mean, there's numbers coming, there's Fed speak, lots of possible actionable events here coming in the day. So we'll watch AMD, maybe it falls back in, and we'll see if we want to take it again. I appreciate you, 1320 Wolf.
I just heard something about Taiwan there. So if you're trading TSM, anything, some ships in the Balkan regions there. But anyways, I'd watch out for TSM there. I'm going to get that headline if I can hear it better the next time. TSM is a little bit relatively quiet this morning. I just got into ARM. We said we had to be patient with this one. Just want to start working in off of VWAP and yesterday's close. It doesn't really give you the short off the top, but it is putting in some lower highs as we speak. The other name that we were just about to get over to was, oh my goodness, Nvidia's Gonzo. You've got to be kidding me. So Nvidia, it doesn't quite get to 1025, but now you're clearly starting to run and break out the top potentially. If we don't get the absolute dip buy, you might just have to look for a trend trade, which would be breaks out the highs, pulls back in. I always like VWAP in a situation like that, if that's going to be the case. Coinbase is going semi-nuts, but I don't think it's out of the pocket just yet. It couldn't break through 228 yesterday. I think if it can break that, I have 240 as the next resistance on Coinbase. DraftKings still kind of holding that 41 level, offering out in 41.20 as well. So we're still in the same two names, looking for an entry point in Meta or Tesla. But Tesla, we like the dip. There was no dip. It just only ripped to the upside on Tesla.
All right, okay. I mean, there it is. Another win there on Apple. Like I said, you know, would rather be 1-1 than dancing with some of these other names that I'm not putting up numbers on. So we should have been on AMD, not AMD.de, of course, AMD.NQ right there. Up to 163. Congratulations to absolutely everybody out there that trusted comeback season, man. This is not Johnny Manziel comeback season. This is real right here. 160, nice upside move there off AMD. We called it. We don't have it. I hope you guys do. Congrats on that play. I'm not in love with this Apple trade. We're getting some out on the upside. I don't know why this isn't moving. I mean, I liked 189.25 to rip, and that's completely different than what's happening right now. Apparently, AMC is starting to go off now as well.
High now.
But honestly, man, we'll just sit here and try to count some money today. I mean, here we go. We're 2 for 2. First in on Apple, second in on Apple, reloading these trades. It's been a good day so far. I hope you guys are grinding it out with me.
Yeah, that better is reopened, obviously. AMC just broke the highs. I'm only joining AMC if it shows me the pattern like one more time in. I just got the first leg in the arm. What I like about it is we just had a turn in Nvidia at 1050. So here's what just happened in Nvidia. It just made a turn at 1050. If we're going to get back underneath VWAP, then I want to add on the way back to the downside on ARM. We're in DraftKings. I'm just going to give it to you here. It's a long off of VWAP here at 41.10 and zooming back out, giving it to 41.80. This was the top in yesterday's move. So we're going to have one in, one out on this stock. The level I really like is the $40 level. So we're just going to take shots on this one at that particular price. Still nothing coming in for me on Tesla. I like the long on Tesla, but it's not pulling into VWAP. It's not at any key levels. So we'll have to join that some other way. I have resistance at 178, so there's plenty of room to that top. We liked it for the long, but I was never buying it at the open. I wanted to buy the dip. Let's go to Adara.
First Solar FSLR continuing this upward momentum that we've had over the last couple of days, breaking new highs right now, up over 6%. There was a bit of a story with solar. Basically, Google, this came out yesterday evening, Google signing this Japan solar farm deals in order to power data centers, being reported here by Nikkei Asia. But overall, FSLR outsized strength. It does have a short float as well of 4.3%, guys.
All right, thank you, Miss Adara. It's 9:48. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to talk about in the chat here. We're just trying to wait for Apple, and I'm honestly not want to wait for that long. I mean, I think we are bidding down here at 188. It doesn't look like it's going to be the stock that I'd hoped for today. As AMD, a little bit of a pullback back in. Let's check out Nvidia quickly. I just want to look at Meta as well. We talked about the fade short in Meta. We don't have it, but I want to look there. 141 now for Nvidia. Made a nice move off that. It basically got to our level, and again, and here I am not looking at it. That's that same AMD trade. We talked about going short on Meta today, and yeah, that would have been good. Meta now taking out the day's low. Like, man, we've been nailing things, man, and it's been a really good feeling to be able to do this. So here comes Apple back up. We're offering 39s. It's that same 39 as before. Let's see if we can get it. Apple, basically your trade of the day. I mean, we're 1 for 1 here today on Apple, and I'm completely cool with that. So far, so good here. Nothing really else setting up. We did get the setup, of course, and didn't do anything about it with AMD. But right there, Apple again, we just reloaded this at 20s and I can't even get 40s. So let's see if it wants to go one more time. I'm excited for this, but at the same time, we don't need to do anything. We're still fine.
Yeah, the market's not really flying around yet.
No, but I mean, like I said, it's better to be in a position right now that you're kind of just like waiting for something to happen than spend too much capital looking for others. But I still have the scanner going here looking for more shares or more trades. AMC 470.
Apparently Boeing's dumping again.
Yeah, Boeing is.
So by the way, look, I just got a fill on ARM finally. Like ARM came back in when Nvidia dumped a little bit. I added through VWAP and it just got to 112. But this is like ARM's not usually putting in a 50-cent range in the first 20 minutes. But that's what it's doing because that's what the market's telling you. GitLab, I looked over and it is weak, but it's also it was way better liquidity yesterday trading this after the news. I pulled it in. I'm like, yeah, I don't see how you're even getting into a short. I'm not punching the bottom when there's not a lot of liquidity. So yes, GitLab is going to the downside, but it needs to calm itself down a little bit because that's getting a little bit, it's getting nasty, but it's not something that I would participate in without better liquidity there. GameStop, load. There we go. GameStop's now heading lower. This is another caution point to anybody that's getting exuberant about AMC. You're not really breaking back out. You're still in the consolidation and pullback phase. But 18 was a pretty key level yesterday. If GME does any kind of a false breakdown underneath 18, nice little rebound trade could be there, maybe back into VWAP, but it is tanking in some sense. So I'm not going to be getting involved in AMC longs unless this thing does some kind of a little bit of a level off. I think they tend to go, not always follow each other, but I don't like going long one when the other's tanking. DraftKings, I mean, when I have this, I'm giving it to 80. It's still right in the pocket, nothing too crazy happening there. And then Tesla, starting to pull back into VWAP. I like it better off of the support levels. But again, very, very calm and moving trade, like you're not getting those crazy wicks. I feel as if yesterday got us into a mode of be really, really patient because things are flying around like AMD was, and then you're too patient because of the lessons learned yesterday, which is fine at the end of the day. Like you can't be mad because yesterday being impatient is the only reason to be down early. So I kind of feel like it was the right lesson learned. That said, it can be a little bit frustrating. So I'm going to get back into ARM if we get an opportunity for a reload off this like 112.5 level, and things still look relatively weak in some of the other chips.
Yeah, we are, we are completely cool. I mean, this is exactly what we're doing. We have this Apple trade. We've reloaded it. We're waiting to see if it wants to go to the upside right now. So that's what we're waiting for. I was just looking at another trade possibility, so let's start to open that up. So let's wake up everybody that's out there right now. Look, we called Uber at the top, and then it just faded back into the 200 period, and we missed that one as well. So Uber just now triggering on my scanner, and we should have bought that dip. So I'm sitting there now in case we do get a little bit of a dip buy opportunity to come through there on Uber. I like the long down in there. So let's take a look at that in a second if we can. All right, 174 breaking down maybe on Google. So just having a look here. Again, the market's trying to get lower now. I mean, Google on a chart, it's been weak, obviously, the last 2 days, I guess. I mean, other than that, it was pretty strong before then. There's the push, and then there's yesterday, and now we're trying to get back low again. I wonder if, again, if the market comes back, does Google get into that 173? This is probably a decent short opportunity now, breaking down through 174, maybe using that as a top there, 174.40s, something like that. But it looks like we are breaking back down now in the market. So let's be careful. We're out of more than half of our Apple, but not much more. So we're still waiting for that one. Tesla could be a good dip buy. I see some people talking that.
Nvidia's coming down again.
Nvidia's coming down. Okay, so we'll watch out for AMD. Here's Google, 174.20. Could be something there.
Yeah, look, Nvidia is starting to come into the downside. I didn't actually get the reload on ARM. You're going to see it was right in here. This wick will make it hard to tell, but it's a big wick right into VWAP. So there was a bit of a pop, but there was no bid up here. Like it just kind of got there, and then Nvidia rolled over, and you're right back at the bottom. So there was no ad for me. Going to look for a place to get some out of DraftKings just to relieve some pressure. Here it's not at the highs yet, but with the market starting to roll in, I'm just going to take some off for 10 cents. The market is starting to get down into those lows, which makes sense to trim. Like this has not been flying around the way I expected it to. And Tesla might have been a dip buy, but only about 40, 50 cents. So right now we're 50 cents in the money on ARM as that one heads to the downside along with Nvidia and some of the other chip names. So far so good, but it's, we're going to be 2 for 2 at this point, but I don't have any Tesla and it's not really moving how I expected.
Hey, it's me, we're the anti-hero. It's Apple going to the upside rate here again. 188.55, 188.56. Yesterday, I'm driving around High Park blasting Taylor Swift, and everyone's like, man, what's going on with this guy? How come he has such good taste in music? And I just look over, and it's like, it's my daughter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right there, right now. So here we go, guys. It's Google, and by the way, hello. Nice move back to the downside on Google. We just called this one. It's funny that this one started going down. Meanwhile, Apple started to go to the upside. So let's wait to see what exactly is the story here with Google. We'll take a little piece off. It just went into the 80s. We're bidding there now again, but there goes Apple, man. Nice move into 60s. Let's offer out a little piece right here. Traders stay late. Traders trade like this. And here we go. It's Apple. It's Google, it's 2 for 2, and they're doozies right now. So hopefully we can continue with some of the good love on these names. Let's go Google. Again, we said wake up, we got a trade idea, and it's Google right now coming into play again here. So let's wait to see what winds up happening. We're short Google, and we're long Apple. I mean, this is working out absolutely perfect. Again, if you're going to trade like this is what you got to do. Have that patience, man. And here it goes. We're doing it again. Man, we are just leveling up here, and I feel real good about it. So again, hopefully you're all watching and being able to trade and understand what some of the positions that we have on and why we have them on. So we just got a couple fills down there in and around 80. Just the pre-market low. The market did make a dump. Wow, Apple, come on, let's go. Patience again. Pretty key right now, so we're good. Yes, I am a Swiftie. I'm also whatever you call Olivia Rodrigo. Whatever my daughter is into, I am into.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Olivia Rodrigo, for a lot of the younger girls, she loves her songs more. She doesn't actually know who she is if she had to spot them, but it's like she loves the Olivia Rodrigo songs. You're still tanking. You're still moving down on GameStop, so there was no hold of 18. I said if it broke 18 and came back above, I might have looked for a cheeky little long on the way back into VWAP. It's still heading to the downside, so I'm glad we did not get into that. I'm glad we didn't just immediately jump into any trend on AMC when GameStop went down, because you're seeing AMC pull right back in along with it. ARM still holding out. Haven't been able to get a reload just yet, but with the market heading down, we'll hold it into yesterday's bottoms. DraftKings, I think a good decision to take some out. I'll dip back into previous support on DraftKings. I just like this where it's set up on the daily chart overall. I want to be looking for longs on this stock, every single kind of setup that it's going to have. Great $40 level. For now, it's trying to hold the 41. Tesla's starting to come back in along with this market. Let it get down into those lows. I did prefer down closer to the 173 level. You're still at 175, so we're going to try and be patient with Tesla in here. Rivian is at 10. I do see it, but I'd like to see it bounce first. Right, like catching the falling knife, do not want to be doing that today. If I get dip buys, I want to get it where it's shown me a bit of a bounce, and then on the way back up, try to catch it instead of just standing in front of a level blindly.
All right. It's almost 9:59. So let me just double check here on what exactly we have going on with our economic releases here today. All right, so here it is. We just check it. Well, I posted this as well. It's on our watch list. Michigan sentiment coming out right now at 10 o'clock. So those are going to be some numbers definitely to watch out for. We are well positioned right now. We're Apple 50 cents in the money. We just covered some more. Look at that cover right down there on our friend Google. So far, so good here today. Let's go over to Adara. Why don't we go to Adara now? We have numbers in less than 20 seconds. So as soon as she's ready, Ramin, flip it over, and let's go over to happening now.
Waiting on these numbers here, the Michigan Consumer Sentiment final for May coming in 77.2 was the previous final print, but as we know that early print we got was a bit lower than expected, so this will be, we'll have to wait and see what we get. Consensus 76.5 forecast, or sorry, 67.5 forecast 67.4. Michigan 5-year inflation expectations final here as well, consensus and forecast of 3.1%. Just waiting for these numbers to hit here. We're also waiting for Michigan current conditions final, Michigan consumer expectations, and the inflation expectations. Let me see if these are anywhere else. SPY getting a nice move to the upside on these numbers. Perfect. We do have them in. So Michigan consumer sentiment 69.1, slightly above the estimate of 67.7 and 67.4. We did have that Michigan 5-year inflation final coming in 3% versus 3.1% expected. So we also have 1-year inflation 3.3% versus 3.4% expected. Michigan expectations final 68.8 versus 67 expected. And conditions final 69.6 versus 66.8 expected here. So a lot of these numbers coming in better than expected in terms of how the market was looking for them. Some other names moving today include Boeing getting a pop here, but a little bit weaker on the day. They did release their 3rd annual safety report. Bloomberg also reporting that they're working with the union and the FAA to review these employee safety reports. We also have PDD here up 7%, continuing a nice streak after its earnings, getting an upgrade and a 184 price target from Goldman Sachs. Lots to look at on this Friday before the holiday long weekend, guys.
Hey, what a great update right there. We'll come back with this. Awesome, and then this. We sat here all day, and we said, look, we're going to sit in this Apple trade. We like this Apple trade. Let's be patient. Let's be who we are. Let's put on shares. Let's wait for it. Apple right there. Blast off right up there to the upside. So, I mean, so there it was, man. Good out. We're almost out of Apple now. That went right to 189. We are almost, we have 10% left right there. So yes, sir. That was that call. Bang out on that one again. And then AMD 160. Are you kidding me as well? And then look at this average in on Google. Right now we're in the money on this trade. Back to the short side. Stink face, man. This is the kind of market that we're having, and we are feeling everything again here right now. What a different style of trade for me today. Find the best opportunities that I could find, sit in them, and bang them out. We'll take it. We'll take it all day right now. It's Google and it's Apple, and those were monsters.
Yeah, that's what I love to see. It's like it's way more patient today. I think that's what it has to be. I just took some out high of day on DraftKings because respect the fact that it's now double top. Might look at VWAP in here. So I still want to bid underneath that 41 and try and catch it in front of 40.80. But if it starts bouncing off VWAP, we'll take that road as well. ARM came back into the upside. We let it get to the 13 because he had the number come out. So if I'm going to be against the grain, the difference here with the first time is remember Nvidia wicked and went down, and ARM followed along. Nvidia wicks and goes down again, and ARM is carrying higher. So if it breaks out this local top, I don't want to fight it. So that's the reason I'm not going to give it to that high. It was following the pattern before, now it's not following the pattern. So again, ARM has been good almost every single day, but this is not how it usually trades. So I'm going to get out of ARM. We'll take the L on it. I might get back in if we can get up to like the next key level. Maybe it'll fail a 114. If it breaks through there, I'm not touching it unless it gets up to 117. So you got to trade these one station to station. Of course, Tesla does not get down to where we want it. I said patience can be good, but patience can also cost you opportunities. I wanted the lows. It went down to 75. wasn't looking at 175. You guys heard me say I wanted off of the bottoms. And Tesla continued to go up. It is strong. We did like the long, but we're not going to get it. Is what it is. Meta as well. Meta was a dip buy and a long for me off that 462 level. You're going to see just all to the upside on Meta. So you're going to have direction, but you also have to find an entry into the trade. Thankfully, we're able to get something into this DraftKings. And then last one, GitLab. It's been 30 minutes, and I wanted this one to start to calm down a bit. So I'm now a little more comfortable with it. It's still underneath yesterday's lows. I want to be sitting short in GitLab based on that hack, or hack or whatever you want to call it. The accounts got compromised, I guess is what you're supposed to say, which is a hack. And it's still underneath that support level. So now I want to get into this one. You got to give it some room, but very, very light volume. So I'll probably start with small shares. If the market rolls over, I don't see any way this should be a good stock today when you have a security breach.
Look, this is a proud moment for me, but it should also be a prouder one for guys like Wayne back there and guys on the floor. Look, I said today I'm noticing this is probably one of the best days the floor's had, and they've changed their style of trade. And I just want to say a lot of respect to everybody that's there on the floor now trading stocks that are obviously moving and with news, and definitely a change of style there. And I think that this floor behind us is definitely on the right track. So a big shout out to Wayne and Brankles for flipping up what you guys do. Mad respect to that one. I'm definitely seeing the difference. So there's the props there. So again, glad to be able to spend time with these guys on the floor, and I hope that they're able to see the difference in what's going on there. So a big shout out to Wayne and Brankles, and more importantly, the traders behind us, that now I'm seeing all the names I see on the floor are all names that will hopefully lead them to the promised land. So congratulations on flipping it up and being able to do that. So, and again, that's just from, hey, real sees real. And now you guys are really trading, so that's good. All right, look at this. Google right now, boom, there it goes. Let's go. Spin that money through, man. It's 170. What's up with that short? We have two trades today. Apple goes dollar club. Google now 60 cents on reloads. So there's Google all the way to the downside, and look where we just got out, days low. Right? This is exactly the stuff that I'm talking about again. Trust your stock, trust the way you're trading, and look, man, these are the opportunities. These are the opportunities. We'll go 2 for 2 here. We don't need to tell you how big they are. It doesn't matter. You can see we only have 2 trades here today. Yesterday, we fell on that sword with Tesla. We battled back all day to get green again. And today, we'll sit here at 10:06 and show you this trade that we were pounding. This is the other thing. I'm like sitting here saying, this is the trade I have. This is the trade that I like. Thank you to CompuCare as well. You mentioned that, the sticky note and the confidence that we had mentioned with AMD earlier on in the day was the reason why you have this banger still on. But you have the trade on, not me. So again, regardless whether or not that was a help from Sticky Note, whether or not that was your own banger, whether or not you alerted that down there, everyone in the chat was like, dude, it's there on AMD. I was like, hey, it's me, but I am not taking that trade. And instead, we hit it with Apple. Apple will be there. We'll hit it with Google. Google's there. So we'll go 2 for 2. And me and Neil talked about this yesterday. There's literally thousands of opportunities every single day in the market. You just have to do you and find you. But today, it's much more of a proud moment to be able to see the office doing really well, and we know what's going on, and just really good again. And of course, last night I'm lying there with my son as he's going to bed, and he's like, "Dad, did you buy any more Roblox lately?" And I was like, "No."
That's the first thing. Yeah.
No. And I'm teaching my kids financial literacy. I already told you that from the jump. My kids have already sat in this chair and traded, right? So we talk about this all the time because, as I told you, from where I come from and everything like that, this is what I'm going to be doing. But look at this, Roblox today, of course, I'm going to show him tonight that it's up 0.94. He's like, "Dad, they're doing some upgrades." All right, so let's go. It's now time to rock and roll. Back over the desk with Darren. I'm going to go get a coffee. You need one?
Actually, yeah. I was going to ask Randy, though.
Yeah, let's ask Randy.
Yeah,
let's ask
Randy. You don't have to get up. I was about to message that I need a refill on my coffee. Let's go over to Adara. It hasn't shown up just yet, but a wick top there on arm off the high. So I'll re-enter the trade. You've got some weakness starting to come back into it, but let's get over to the desk with Adara.
Not a ton of volume on this one, but currently gaining volume. CROX. Crocs wanted to bring this one up because, we mentioned this one earlier, and it's currently up about 5% right now. No news, but 7.8% short float. It's a nice look for CROX. Just getting another nice volume spike here as we speak, guys.
That'd be Crocs. Shout out to Michael Noss, the Noss boss, coming in there and mentioning that he liked Crocs. I think it was more specific to like a setup that could happen. So I don't want to sit here and tell you guys that he's
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he said he was in.
No, a lot of the times it'll be like, okay, this stock is setting up for this, and this is the trend. It's not necessarily that you're getting in. Like when I was talking to Shreve about Liato, he's not in the stock. He just mentioned that there was a bottom it was making, and he might get in. I saw it was up. I got excited. I'm like, hey, good for you. But he didn't actually buy. But I am in Rivian off the $10 level. Oh, well, maybe he'll get into it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So I'm into Rivian off 10. It worked yesterday, bouncing off 10 into VWAP. If it doesn't today, I picked some up out in front of 5, bit of a bid at 5 on the way after it had bounced. So now I'm going to look. If it holds 10 exactly here, I might add 1s and 2s. But on the way down, not going to do that. If we break down underneath 10, then we just dump out of that trade. PDD's holding up so well. Like I'm looking back over at Alibaba, and remember that level at Alibaba that I said was the overnight prices? That's not a real brick wall. It turned there anyways at $80.80, and it stair-step up. One of the favorite trades I've had lately on Alibaba is when it fails a break of the bottom, puts in a higher low-off VWAP, and then takes out the top. So that's actually setting up right now. There's your false bottom, there's holding VWAP, and then taking out the top would actually just end up randomly being an $81 even break. So that's a breakout setup I like. Of course, I'm not getting in unless it actually gets there, and it's heading down right now. So I just want to let you know, if we break 81s in Alibaba, I'm going to go long, but as I say that,
81.
Now it's going down. See, I just jinxed it. I feel like every time I go to look for a breakout trade, I tell you guys, hey, I'm going to take this breakout, and then the stock just never gets there. What's going on? Position war might be wrong again, guys. I'm back into ARM on the short side.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll work on that. Hopefully, we'll be able to get that all fixed up. Okay. So we did just average in right now at 40 here on Google, but I mean we're short at 30s right now. I'm gonna take a little bit more here if we can get it. We just got some 58s there. Whatever it was, 50, no, I think it was less than that, 56. There
we go.
Right there, yeah, so I just took a position, so hopefully, all right, so mine should be right. But we're coming up to VWAP right now, and again, we thought Google was weak, and remember what we said about having the ability to switch up your game. We did that yesterday with the futures, so we're not doing this now. It's 10:15, and that, day wreckers can happen very, very quickly in the stock market. So let's not change our tune too much and still, okay, here we go. I mean, we're short and we're in the money now on it, but at the same time, it is coming back just a little bit. Apple's trying to get to that dollar again. We're 70 cents in the money on Apple. We only have 10% left. It's Google that's got my eye right now. And over at the desk with another update, let's go with Adara.
Nice volume increase and getting near high of days right now for DELL. Dell Technologies went up 5%. No news on this one today, but we did have that strength yesterday in tandem with Nvidia on AI strength. We also did have its collaboration with Ericsson announced yesterday, and Dell is going to be reporting coming up on Thursday after close, guys.
Oh, Tesla, it's not fair, Tesla. Dell's a monster. Definitely a monster. Tesla's now gonzo. Though I did say sometimes you got to be patient, right? So we let this bounce off of. Oh, I just got GitLab. We just let Rivian bounce off the $10 level and then catch on the way up, which does mean we sacrifice the chance of getting 2s and 3s. That said, we get it going to the upside instead of catching the falling knife. If Tesla's going to get some orders out in front of the 10s and then the high of the day's quarters, so I want to make sure I have take profits on Rivian into that. GitLab, again, they had the security breach yesterday, so it's very, very light volume. I said be very patient. Like, I'm not going to just, like, it's not doing a heck of a lot of volume, so I want to start small here and only add if it starts going into the downside. The market's strong enough as well that it could get lifted with everything else. Tesla is an absolute rocket ship at this point. It's like, carry Rivian with it, please. is the best way I can think about it, because I think VWAP's about the only way I'm getting in. We're not going to get a dip into the support levels that we like. There's just almost no chance that's happening. DraftKings, I just picked some back up when it bounced off VWAP again. We'll get some out if it gets back into the high of the day. So DraftKings up 1.5%. There was a positive news story yesterday in the afternoon, and it's just continuing trend back into the upside. Randy, my man, thank you very much. Tesla is flying today.
Thank you. Yeah, we talked about Tesla having that bottom base at 173, 174, and it is starting to fly to the upside right here for TSLA. And this is why we sort of wanted to stay away from it. Remember we switched over this to a bull? So far so good here on that call. Tesla's starting to go back upside, and normally this has been on the sticky note all week, and I said if we can base out around 173, 174, we liked it, but the problem is here today, wasn't looking at it right here. We should have. It was 174.50. I would have been upset with myself, Randy, if I took this and then it went down because I was waiting for 173. These wicks, yeah, there's VWAP right here at 176. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about, Randy. There it is right there. See, it's a whole thing. Like now people, this is exactly it, right? Looking at new things now. VWAP, a big level there on Tesla. So we'll see if that one can hold. Good call, Randy, on that. What's your plans for the weekend? Anything? Kart racing. That sounds like a hell of a lot of fun. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
not on Saturday, I hope. Is it on Saturday?
Saturday
It
and
might
Sunday.
rain on Saturday.
Where are you going?
Mossport.
Good luck.
Mossport.
Yeah, it's
man,
Mosport
that's
or
always-
whatever, but you're the one going, so you call it whatever you
We're
want.
sponsoring a kid there. He's good, so it's good stuff.
Good,
Oh,
good,
that's
good. That
pretty
should be fun times, man. I hope you enjoy that. I hope the weather, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I hope the
I
weather
think we're,
sticks
well,
out for you.
yeah, 100%, because I think on tomorrow and Monday we're expecting rain. Thunderstorms on Monday. So Intel's flying,
Monday.
and I don't know specifically why Intel's going up. I saw no news stories on this stock. I think it could just be a relief rally off $30. So if it's that, here was the morning resistance, 3080. There's support at 3080. This is a long-winded way of saying this wick is going to get me short to the high of the day. So it's that simple. The high of the day is like 3082-ish, or maybe it's like 83. Either way, if it breaks out that, I'm jumping out of that trade. We just started getting out of Rivian, so that's a news trade is just getting into Intel. Again, I don't know why it's strong, but it bounced off 30. It got to the resistance spot that I didn't think was in play today, so I just jumped into the short. And now we're at VWAP on Rivian, so thank you, Tesla, for at least dragging this off the depths into VWAP. I'm starting to get more out once we cross the 10 level. Team PJCT, yeah, you're right. Meta's still ripping. It is what it is, man. I don't want to slap the fail on it because I feel as if being patient was the right thing to do, but it led me to not finding aggressive longs in Meta. It led me to not finding aggressive longs in Tesla today. So sometimes it's like that. There's a cost to being patient, or risk, it just means you might miss out on opportunities if you're not aggressive with it. So Tesla's going, Meta's going. I did like them both for longs. I have not gotten in. We'll have to look for VWAP in there. Rivian, again, like I said, starting to go into the upside. And then we haven't talked too much about crypto, but Coinbase looks like it might be trying to break a double top. I think Coinbase is really more bullish if it can take out this high, 228. And if that happens, it'd be better if Bitcoin was actually doing something itself, because you're not really getting a lot of movement in spot prices, especially after that ETH. I guess it's not really, they didn't approve anything. They just said you're allowed to put the applications in.
Of course, we say that like the one we want to buy is Meta. Like we want to get longer on Meta because we sold some, and we haven't been able to do that. I think that's the number one stock for me right now, looking to buy anything for Meta on any dips if we get it in the market.
I wanted Microsoft, but I missed that.
Yeah, Microsoft was an easy one to get as well, but damn it, you got to pounce when they're there.
Well, I had a bid like so close underneath where it dipped to, and like it's like you said, it gets down there. It's like it misses your bid by a few dollars. Just log in and go long.
Yeah, it doesn't
and
really
add.
matter.
It's like it's so frustrating because I don't do that. I'm like, oh, it's gonna hit my price. Yeah. It did not. Anyways.
Who's this that's trying to call me here?
We got SMCI apparently is making some moves, and if you look at Nvidia, like Nvidia yesterday, it was absolutely carrying the market. Today, you have such a lack of volatility in the stock, it's crazy. As a matter of fact, the reason that I didn't move it to a bull is I kind of thought we'd have a bit of an inside day, and it ends up being true on the big leader, but overall, the market is trending into the upside. It's just everything but Nvidia is making that move because you're getting a fly up in AMD. I mean, Yeah, it was kind of in the middle, but I kind of liked it down closer to the bottom. It is what it is. But this is going to now at least retest, I think, that 168 level that was so key before. If it gets up there, maybe you get a bit of a curl. The only new position I put on was Intel off of that wick, and it's still right in there. So I don't want to stand in front of AMD because I feel like AMD should be stronger than Intel. But at the same time, if Intel just decides to make a fresh high, I'm getting the heck out. There's only so much I want to fight this. Both of these have made a good relief rally, so we'll risk about 6 or 7 cents on it and no more here.
All right, Google's coming back down. I appreciate you, Athena. Yeah, no, I don't feel like I'm being hard on myself at all. I just, I did miss that AMD trade, and we'll often have trades on here. But you know what? Honestly, the fact that Apple was our trade idea number 1, and this is the kind of, and we hashtag real trading. We talk about how they're our number 1 sponsor. I mean, this is trades that we could all have on. These are 188 buys. You could take day expiry options, anything like that. I was going long here, and now there it is, right? We're pushing the dollar club winner. So, I mean, sure, it's funny because, again, if you have 100 shares right now, let's just say, maybe you're trading light shares, you're doing whatever, or you have 1,000 shares, or you have 10 shares. But if you have 100 shares and you're long right here at 188.20, right now, even though I feel like I haven't really made that many trades, first of all, we have 2 trades here. That's a reload. At the end of the day, you're now $1, let's just say you're even 80 cents in the money, 90 cents in the money, something like that, like we are right now. That right there is $100 in your pocket, and you've been now, if you consider this work, working for 40 minutes. It's real trading. I don't think that this has been harder because although we'll be up on it and we're short and we just covered and yada, yada, at the end of the day, this is a much harder trade for you guys to take. Much harder trade for you guys to take because you have to average in and there's a lot of different things happening here. But the Apple trade doesn't get much simpler than this. So thanks, Athena. There it is right now. It is a dollar club. And trust when I tell you, man, we don't even have 99 problems, but definitely Apple is not one. So let's go back over to the desk right now. What's up to Comp SRX1? What's up to everybody in the chat? I hope you guys are doing real well today. It's been another good one. Adara.
Do have the Russell 2000 trying to push higher here. The IWM trying to make these higher lows. Right now up just under 1% on the day. Quite a few runners to talk about. A lot of these are going to be day 2 plays or names that we mentioned earlier. ONMD at one point up 100%, now up just below 100%, 95% to the upside. This one running on a day 2 move after reporting greater than 5 times an expansion of its proprietary network and platform. So nice look there for OneMedNet. We also have MRUS, Maris. This one trading higher, up about 33% after announcing they published this abstract with regards to their cancer treatment ahead of this annual cancer-related meeting. So nice look there for MRUS. Last but not least, BTTR, Better Choice. This one on the Amex up about 35% to the upside. No specific news on this that I saw, but we do have a short float of about 4.8%, a float of under 500,000 shares, and a market cap of around 3.5 million. So pretty small across the board for BTTR, guys.
Did we just get, no, we did not get more Google. So I was looking to get more Google up here potentially. So I'm waiting a little higher, like 174.70, see if we can get something just to average this back in. This is not like, I'm hoping for a move down, but the futures are just going to the upside. So we said that we would potentially look at the TQQs. It's actually setting up for a short, which is why I'm trying to get. We only have 10% left of Apple, which we just talked about. It is $1 in the money right now. So, pardon?
What's your level on the Qs?
I don't know. I was just looking right now on, it just wicked this high right there on the TQs. Again, this is a daily chart, so we already know where we've been. So if we're going to look at the 1 minute here on the TQ, we just sort of made that little top wick right there again. So I was just thinking if we fade back off of this, I have to Yeah, I haven't really looked at it. I mean, there yesterday, that's 65, so we're getting pretty close to that coming into play there from 2 days ago, actually, that 65 level. So yeah, maybe something coming up here. 18.8, I mean, on the major cues, 18.825, that was the high we just made. So I think if you're gonna go short, you just go short against today's high. Because the market, we say this all the time. How resilient is this market?
Yeah.
Like,
well, actually,
straight up all the time.
Well, the reason I ask is, obviously you want confluence in your trades. You want to have multiple reasons to like something. So I just looked over. I'll get to GitLab in a second. That one's working, but we said we just take out Intel if it made a fresh high. Like that's accelerating right now. Like,
wow.
Is the market going to turn? That was my question. Just in a general sense, okay, well, is there some kind of a technical re-entry that's going to make sense? But no, like now Intel is going to be up 3%. So it got to a level that I liked, and we're just going to get out of Dodge. It showed you that wick top. So that's a setup I'm going to like back into VWAP. Like we're trying to make a move back into here. There's nothing going on Intel. And I'm actually a little disappointed because I wanted that sucker to get down to $25 because that would have been the only place I'd buy it before the end of the year. So GitLab just retraced back into 56. We got in at VWAP at 45. We just took 40 pennies on it. Low of the day is going to be 55.5. The other thing which I did not point out, which I'll do now, the 50 period on the daily is right at that 55.5 as well. So I'm going to get out there and then look for another trade. So GitLab, I think it should, I just want to be short this stock today. So when it sets up a short, whether it's at 57 or VWAP, I want to try to go short, hold it into the next level down. The fact that it's down into an up market and had bad news, I think makes a heck of a lot of sense. But I don't want to be fighting Intel again. Like, it wasn't even fighting, it was one entry. But whatever the heck's going on with it, it looks like it's a pretty strong stock for the short term. We just got back into like 10.08 on Rivian, so it's bounced off 10. We're at 10.12 here. My longs were at 6 and 5. So now that my price shows 5, my price was 5.5. It's the same thing. It doesn't really matter. I'm offering out in front of 18s, and we'll look to see if we can continue that. DraftKings, it's trying to get back up toward that high. I'm holding for either a break at the top or maybe we can get another reload off of VWAP here. So it's been relatively quiet on DraftKings. It's on 1.5 million of volume, but it's not exactly the most exciting 1.5 million. You're essentially getting 25 cents on the move here on DraftKings. It was a heck of a lot better when the news actually came out and it ran $1.50. But you just got to be patient with it. It is bouncing and trending to the upside, so we like it. And now Nvidia is starting to go. Thank goodness we got out of that Intel. Nvidia is starting to break out, back above VWAP. Still a very much inside day on Nvidia. So short GitLab. We'll hang on to Rivian into some of these highs. Tesla has still been a bit of a frustrating one. That last little dip got you nowhere near to VWAP. Still $1 away from VWAP, which now sits at 176.
Yeah, great trade there on GitLab, and that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. But talking about GitLab, seeing it make a move, putting the trade on, that's a good one there. And I think, like I said, I think the market should think about retracing, but we're right back at the highs. So let's just. I see some people in the chat talking about Google, so I don't know. Where's that? We have a gangster cash register here. We'll ring it.
I hate that one.
Right there. That's like those early ones. We got some out there. So as you can see, it does come right into the 50-period moving average again on that downside push. 43s, 44s, 45s, 154. And then the rest down here in the 40s. But look at this. It's coming right back up as the market goes. So we did not put on that market short. We did want to wait for it. I still think it's a possibility here, but just looking at a broader look on the NASDAQ in general, we did this yesterday with Raider Trader. We've been talking about this with Frank and making some of these highs and pulling back in just a little bit. That's 19,000. Like that's pretty sweet. And right now you're just at this level again. So this is something to look at. Like that top from the 22nd, what day is it? Day 24. So just 2 days ago, in coming into question right now, 18,830. 18,830, right. So we're right there right now. We're at 18,828. So this is a spot where you could get some short and then hold it against that. So I'm actually debating the short. We talked about 65 here on the TQ. So let's just try to put it on. I mean, AMD is a monster. That's out. I mean, look at this AMD call. Congratulations to everybody there. It's trade idea number 2 on here. Trade idea number 1 is a Dollar Club member with Apple. Trade idea number 2 is a 1, 2, 3, $4, $5, $6 winner there with AMD. So let's just see what winds up happening. Here goes the TQs right now back up to the upside, and there's that 65. Let's try it, but this is a little bit of a danger spot. Sometimes we do get moves reversing itself into not the afternoon, but the morning is like it's 10:30
Into
now.
11 European close.
We just tried to short 65s. Can you believe that? And it just went all the way down there. So hopefully we'll be able to rally back. Let's put on a small piece at 96. Well, we tried. This is a different beast altogether because triple Qs is just all machines. So it's not, they will run away from your orders because it's a machine, but at the same time, there's so much liquidity, it just follows the market that, as long as you don't have to be like, oh, I just missed that level. If the market wants to come back, it'll just fill you. So we'll take a 96 there. It's too bad that we didn't have a little bit better of a position on that one. We just did get stopped out of our Google. I'm going to put one more piece back on because the market did fail up here as well. We just got stopped out there at 174. Let's be a little bit, okay, it's against the market, but not by much. So I don't know, Google just started weak and I was liking the weakness until we started to break above. So I'm just gonna go short again, thinking that maybe we get a fail move on that. TQs right now, whatever, just went a dime piece. We'll see if we can go a little bit lower than that. Let's hold on to this Google and see if it'll get going. 175 stop, and then that's it. Let's not be stubborn with this one and just keep shorting this market. The NASDAQ is insane. So
I would usually
maybe 175.50 maybe.
I would usually be short right now on Intel at 30.93 or 94.
Can't believe that AMD.
But again, I don't know why it's so strong. AMD, I can wrap my head around why AMD made that rally to the upside. I'm having some trouble wrapping my head around any specific reason. You don't need a reason for it to be strong. I'd usually be in this short right now, but you can see I did not take it, so it is what it is. Rivian just got into the teens, tagged me at 16. I'm sitting here at 20 as well. All it's doing is retracing the initial move it made. It went from $10 to $22, back to $10, sorry, $10 to $10.22, back into 10, and now it's trying to make a run back into 22. I do want to still be in this if it breaks quarters in the chance that it can go higher. If it breaks out that top, it looks good. I just canceled my Alibaba order for a breakout because Alibaba, I said it would look pretty good if it could take out this top at 81. As you can see, Baba is not doing what Pinduoduo was doing. I can want Alibaba to be as strong as Pinduoduo all I want. It's just not going to happen. Checking back in on GitLab. If it pops back in and gives me a setup short on 56.5, we'll try to get back into that one again. So Rivian looking okay. DraftKings is just like Rivian, like it's chilling out at the top end of the range without actually breaking the top. Team PJCT, Intel probably moving from hedge fund interns. Maybe. One of the things that can happen on a Friday going into a long weekend is, you might have the B team on some of the desks, although it's so algo related anyways nowadays, it might not matter as much as it used to in the past. Sometimes you get an advantage trading in the afternoons on a holiday long weekend, but I think the algos rule, and that's not a big a deal anymore. I think it used to be a thing with traders. Here's Tesla, and here's 178 trying to break it out. I said I'm not taking any breaks. I'm taking dip buys on this stock. So I'm not taking a 178 break at 10:30. Breakouts at this time I have not found to be that good. So I'm just not going to take it. I'll look for a dip buy in that stock. We'll stick with what's been working so far today. So it is what it is, but Tesla's making that run to the high. If it goes, I do think Rivian has a good chance of breaking the top with it. AMC's tracking towards 5. I know everyone's been saying, hey, AMC's up. It's up 5%. It's moved about 15 to 17 cents, depending on your entry point. Not nearly exciting enough for me. And GameStop still, oh, never mind. GameStop broke VWAP.
Oh, really?
The last I checked, GameStop was trending down.
Really?
Okay, this could get a little more exciting. If these can take out any of the highs, those are breakout trades I don't mind scalping because they're squeeze names. I don't mind breakouts on squeeze names.
All right, so right now we are just dancing with the devil here again, as we keep saying. We've already taken some profit on the TQQs to the downside, but then it just battled itself right back up. So we're just going to give this a couple more pennies through 65. Like 65.10, something like that. We sort of just talked about what level we're at and possible expectations here for this trade. So if we're going to lose 10 cents, like we took I mean, what kind of a move was that yesterday? I always look back and I'm like, man, why didn't we just, not scalp this out? But so we were short here when we came back about 1 o'clock. That's 65 down to 60. So that's like, I'm just trying to see, because again, it's triple the NASDAQ. So this will move much more. You can see the NASDAQ here is only down 0.7 right now, when the TQs is up 2.3. So again, that's kind of the difference that you're dealing with when you trade these names. You got to watch out for the sort of relative move as opposed to the NASDAQ. So sometimes it's hard for me to figure out where to stop out and where not to. But I've already looked now and said, hey, we're trying to break long on the market. We looked at that 18,832 or whatever it was yesterday. And if we can still stay above here right now, not worth it, man. It's like one good word from someone in the Fed or something comes out and then we just blast higher. So I'm not going to hold this. This is triple levered, the Qs. So if we're wrong, it's a problem. So let's wait to see what happens here. We're just going to take a 10-cent hit if that is what winds up happening. And for right now, it's a crypto moment with Adara.
Big story to talk about, of course, in the land of crypto is going to be that pathway to approval for these Ethereum ETFs. So right now, the SEC has allowed indices like the CBOE, NASDAQ, NYSE to list the spot Ethereum ETFs, but now there's no actual approval for them yet. The issuers still need further approvals before these funds can launch. So certainly an exciting development in the world of these Ethereum ETFs here. Bitcoin itself continuing to find that rejection that I talked about earlier this week at that 72,000 level on the daily chart. Though right now, we're kind of coming into an interesting point of a little bit of resistance earlier in the chart, and that's going to be this 67,000 level. So let's see if that can hold up for BTC. Right now, BTC holding just below that 68,000 on the day. Ethereum having a bit of a sell the news moment, despite that 20% pop we got when we initially heard that Ethereum ETFs were more likely to be approved. Now we're actually seeing a bit of a move down here. So holding on to that 3,700 level, but down about 2.5% in the day. A bit mixed for the rest of these crypto-related names. A lot of them are going to be down in the day, but we do have things like Dogecoin up 3 2/3%, Chainlink up 8%. Rest of them are going to generally be to the downside, though. Solana down 2 1/3. Cardano down just under 2%. So a bit of a mixed performance for the rest of these crypto names, guys.
So, yeah, all right. We just got one. I mean, I don't know if this is, all right, we'll take a 96 there. We're only short now at 02, and I mean, we don't want to necessarily be, like, I'm taking very, very small pieces out here. There we go. Okay, we got another 95. Just taking out like 5% at a time here. And this is what I say, like, I always look back and I'm like, why are we doing this? Why? Maybe we shouldn't. So let's wait now. So my next bid is 92. That was that bottom there. So I have to take a 90, 92. If we get it, we just took a 95. That'll be for 10%. So we'll be out of like maybe 15% of this so far, maybe, if it does come back in. And then honestly, when we get retracements from days high back to 50 periods, that is like the spot for me. So 64.50 would be great. 64.70 would be fine. So we'll see if we can get something in and around 64.70. Let's park like a decent size there. So we'll park something there. If it comes back in, great. And just in case I'm not paying attention, we'll put something down there at that very bottom that I think, okay, here we go. We just got that 90. Let's go. Spin, spin. Spin! Oh yeah, right now, a little bit of a face slapper coming through right now on the TQQs. Like I said, I marked this down on the sticky note. My number one stock this month, I would think, anyways, I have to look that up, is the TQs. And for right now, we going down, baby. Nice little move to the downside right there. We just talked, you're looking for futures traders. Okay, right now, don't look for equity trading though, because I'm still short Google and this is ripping. So out of 175, if this goes upside, we will. It's funny because we shorted the market again, and I said this yesterday, and someone in the chat was like, Sean, just trade futures, dude. And you are right, whoever that was, because again, what we'll make on this futures trade, we will give some back here on Google as it just broke higher. So it's all good on this front with Apple starting to go, and it's really all good with these futures trade. But at the same time, we do take the L there on Google. We have 4 times the shares here on the futures, but still, we don't like to give any of that back.
Yeah, at the end of the day, though, you take the trade that's there. So I don't know why some names are continuing to go up when the market is putting a dip in, but I wanted to see a lower high. Someone just asked me, is ARM a short here? It's at the level. There's that double top. We shorted off the pre-market lows. When it looked strong, we just got out of it. But now you're starting to see, not capitulation, but a consolidation underneath and some lower highs underneath 114. So I will get back into this one to that 114 level. The other thing that happened is we just had the crypto segment from Madeira. Mara is at, I just hit enter. There we go. Mara is at that $21 level that it couldn't break yesterday. If Mara gets back above 21, I was long this multiple days off the 21 level, and it was a good bounce zone. It was a breakout, then dips into 21. Yesterday was resistance at 21. I know it was a good short yesterday, but today is a different day. Super strong. I don't know why Coinbase and Mara are so strong when not that much is happening in GBTC. Like, remember, Mara doesn't mine Ethereum. It doesn't actually even matter, and Bitcoin's not moving. But if you break out from this 21 level, I think you've got at least 50 cents worth of upside. The actual high was 21.03 yesterday, so I'd be looking for it to take out 05s instead of the even dollar level on Mara. If we get an opportunity on this dip, I want to look at VWAP again here on DraftKings. So DraftKings been holding VWAP. It's about to test it one more time. We got it the first one through, held it down under, then it showed higher lows. Looks like it wants to do it again on DKNG.
All right, guys. So the only position, again, look, like it's a pretty good thing. We should have identified this at VWAP. We did try it one more time. I'm just gonna flush myself down the toilet. And again, this is the thing, and I want to just say thank you to people in the chat because you're talking about trading, entertaining, doing all this, trying to speak, trying to educate. I mean, I should have, and this is part of you, bless you there,
Bless
Fabian. As you go, you sound like me and my mother. We sneeze like uncontrollably sometimes. Right there, 174.80, 175. The minute we broke VWAP there, that's the indicator for me that we should have been looking at. One thing is to short against 250 period, but when we started to break there, just didn't believe the extra strength in Google, and it looks like it did pick itself right off the mat there. So yeah, that sucks for us on Google. Futures, look, man, we already got some out there. We said that we wouldn't do like that whole rapidly getting out, but funny for me to tell you, but I'm out of like basically 45% of it now, as it just came back in and we took some profits. So
Uzi style.
we'll try to hold. Yeah, man. Literally, we got our AK and we're about to spray, but at the same time,
I don't know, Uzi probably sprays a little more than an AK.
I don't know. Honestly, I just use my hands. But at the same time, right now, TQs. Yeah, the judge said I can't even use these anymore, unfortunately. All right, 64.70 downside right now. Potential warrant coming for your boy. All right, over to the screen with Adara.
Okay, Ponzi.
Lots of strength in lots of these markets today to end this week and kick off our holiday weekend. We do have lots of strength in technology services. Of course, the exception is going to be some of these computer-related names. Intuit to the downside after earnings. CRM following suit. We have Salesforce earnings next week, so keep an eye on that one. Oracle, Adobe, ACN also a little weaker here, but Netflix, Google, and Meta all very strong. Lots of chip strength here in electronic technology. AMD, Qualcomm, Intel, all very good looks here. Finance strong across the board. Producer manufacturing, retail trade. Again, lots of retail earnings next week as well. Consumer durables, producer manufacturing, and consumer services, process industries, all really strong. A little bit of weakness coming through here in health technology, a bit more of a mixed weak performance. AbbVie, Johnson & Johnson to the downside. Generally, though, lots of strength in lots of these sectors, guys.
So we were just talking about this when I was in Vegas probably 15 years ago with the wife there. We went to one of those shooting ranges, and we did one of us. So the wife was the I think it was it the M16? I don't know, but we did fire the AK as well. So that was just
was it you that said there was a Gatling gun at that place?
Well, so the Gatling gun, well, you can, but you got to go outside with that.
Well,
this was just a shooting range. Like,
I would hope so.
You could actually, I even think they had like bazookas and stuff. Like if you paid enough money, like, yeah, it's nuts. Like we don't get those opportunities don't exist around here too much.
No.
We haven't looked at Faraday Future
FFIE
yet, so no, I don't know. I mean, I want to look at it. I mean, it's a stock that people talk about. Yeah, so this has actually held out much better than I thought it would. Like when you start this journey at 5 or 10 cents and go all the way to 350, and then come all the way back in, I'm surprised at how well Faraday Future is holding up. So good look on that one. If anybody's buying the dips, that could be something in this name. But again, 50 million shares, good short float. Oh, they have tanks now at those places? Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, yeah, it's crazy. All right, by the way, in my opinion, we've all had great trades on here, but even John Travolta's like, dude, what's up with this Apple call? And when you're getting it from a guy like that, you just, all right. 188 and change. Like, we sat in this trade and I was like, guys, we missed AMD, but we're really happy with this. We really, really like Apple here today. It's at 189.50 and your number one trade idea on here as well. The number two idea, of course, is AMD long 160. And you would say, well, then I should be long 160. Yeah. Came into 160 a couple times. This was worth buying a million times over, only because it already bottomed there. So we already knew that. We always stick our neck out on this sticky note, and we try to give some decent ideas, and I think that was definitely one of them down there at 160. We even wrote down comeback season for it, and we talked all about it, but
No comeback for the Chicago White Sox last night in what was hands down the single, and again, you're probably going to see highlights of this.
Who did they play?
It was the White Sox versus the Baltimore Orioles, and I've watched a lot of baseball in my time. The single worst call I've ever seen to end a game. And it's bar none. And it was disgraceful. And sometimes you have an umpire.
They have reviews.
Not this call, because it called interference on the last play of the game on an infield.
Thank God there's 160 games.
On an infield fly. On an infield fly where the batter is automatically out. The batter is automatically out off the bat. Hand up, infield fly, the batter's out. And they still call obstruction because the guy on second base turned and starts walking back to the base. Didn't even see the shortstop, had to step around him and make an easy catch. And they called interference to double play to end the game. Tying run would have been tying run was on first place. It was ridiculous. If I was a White Sox fan, you're having a bad year. That adds insult to injury.
It's actually better that they lose.
Probably. My whole thing is, look, the best umpires are the ones that you don't know. If you never have to hear an ump's name or a ref's name, then that means they're doing their job because it's about the players.
I say get rid of them all because that's going to make it so much.
The robots are coming.
Yeah, and thank God for
the
that,
robots are coming.
honestly.
So the only new position I have was getting back into ARM, and I tried to add here at 80s, but if you get back into VWAP, I'm going to get out in front of VWAP. Maybe we'll get some reloads somewhere on the dips. GitLab, we tried. Look, I wanted GitLab at 56.5 again. Just nothing doing up there. It's bouncing off VWAP. We're still going to get out at the low of the day. Remember I mentioned the reason getting out at the low is just what it looks like on the daily chart. If it breaks through the low, it's a separate trade through 55. I think we want it short into that 50 period. So we're about 50 cents in the money on GitLab. I'm looking for another 30 or 40, and then we'll go. DraftKings, we did not get the dip buy. Again, patience has worked in here today. Rivian, we did get tagged at 10.20. It's trying to pull back into VWAP, but on a day like today, no need to jump out in front and just say, hey, it's dip. Let's buy the first available dip. No. If we like it at 10, we like it at 10 until another level shows up. So we're long this one at 10.05. The best we got was 20s. You're risking underneath 10. You're going to get 99 in that situation on a stop order. Unless something crazy happens with Rivian, it wouldn't. But if we get a reload, it has to be off that $10 level. Nvidia is starting to go to the upside. So that's the only thing that would be concerning for me on the shorts, although GitLab had bad news yesterday. But Nvidia is holding VWAP. There was only one chance to get it on a dip buy today, which I did want. But I kind of liked it off of 10.20 was my out if I was going long on Nvidia today, which meant it had to be at least at 10.25 or around that level to catch the dip buy on Nvidia. Didn't get there, but still some strength in Nvidia. If it breaks it out, the shorts could be in some trouble, but until that happens, they're still in the pocket.
All right, so right now about 20 or so handles in the money on this futures trade. It came right into the level that we talked about. We said we'd get a bunch out there at 70s, so it went to 77. We put a bid out there as it was stalling a little bit. That very bottom is 75, but as you can see, we did take some out right there. So far, so good. We'll watch out for that short coming through. I don't want to be watching out too much for the short because I don't want to get scared, even though it's only 10% left. I don't want to get too scared out of this Apple trade. I really like it. I think breaking through 190 is a possibility here today. Obviously, if that happens, then we'll lose on this trade. So we're just taking some pieces of the pie out right now on Google. on Google.
Futures.
Yeah, futures. I mean, Google just, man. Remember I was like, maybe we should wait for 175.50, but we didn't. So we lost our way a little bit there with the patience.
I had
on
yeah.
Google, and yeah, that was just because
175.50 was the morning high.
That's why.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, nothing, no rocket
I really
science
wasn't
there.
looking at that stock much today. That said, I am now looking at Lucy. I'm coming home. I don't know what's going on with this stock. But anyways, we'll do some I Love Lucy love. Great show. Desi Arnaz was amazing. Rest in peace. But everyone's asking, are there locates on this stock? So a couple of people have asked me. We don't have free locates. I'm going to see if we actually have paid locates in there. It's up 200% on 250 million shares in volume. So this could be the one today. It is NASDAQ. So why did that reject? You have to do it in all caps. That's just so weird. You have to actually put the symbol in all caps when you request a short. So it's done 250 million shares. We do have pay locates of 1/8 of 1 cent per share. I feel like that's standard for us on a stock where it's basically free, but it's not technically free. So we can go short this name at Real Trading. You just have to pay for the privilege to do so. So Lucy up big. It looks like it's just a pure, I'm going to check for news on it. I don't know if we have anything, but it looks like it's one of those low float runners, maybe the new one du jour. Look at the 50-cent level. So that was a big, big resistance spot on Lucy. 50 cents also happens to be where it last dipped. So that could come into play. Halt rules are different underneath 75 cents. So it has to move much more than 10% in order to go into a halt. Let's go to Adair for the news, the story on Lucy.
There's no story on Lucy. The company is Innovative Eyewear, but just some details. They do have a 0.4% short float. It's a very small short float. Market cap of around $3 million, just over 11 million share float. So larger float, not a huge short float, but small market cap for LUCY, guys.
Okay, thanks, Adara, for that one. Yeah, Dan, I missed your super chat, so put it in there or just write a message again, and I'll treat it as such, and we will get to figure it out. Okay, so, all right, what's next? Who next? Palantir next. All right, let's have a quick look at that because this is another name that was on the sticky note. We wrote down, all right, I mean, we wrote down if we were going to get into this level in and around 20 is where we were looking for that long. I mean, honestly, I was not going to build anything. I don't feel like this is a missed opportunity for me. I wasn't building this long until we got into this area here, like 2030s, 2040s, something like that. So we did dip to 2065 there right now. Now Palantir up 1.16%, stronger than the market. I think it's a fade if we get to 21, like 15 up here. The market just kind of is doing things like this, but remember, we're still short the market here, and we took some profit on this, but there it comes right back up to the upside. That's why we said when you take high of day and you get back into the 50 period, we talked about that. That's sort of my target there. So we were lucky enough to get some out up there right now. We just tested back to high. So let's try a little bit more short here. You see what happens? We push offer enter and makes that move down. But the NASDAQ is something that will run against you. So let's be careful. Our out is still 65.10. We're short 65.04 right now. Let's see what winds up happening, and maybe we'll get some resolve after we get back from Adara at the desk.
Downside move for the DXY, continuing to reject off this previous support resistance level, coming in at 105 for the DXY on the daily chart. We did have some economic data today that the market really liked. Key among them is the Michigan consumer sentiment for May. Did come in at 69.1%, so above that estimate of 67.4%, below the prior number of 77.2. But when we consider the fact that the preliminary print here was around 67, this is certainly a nice look for this May consumer sentiment print. We also did have core durable goods month over month for April coming in higher than expected, 0.4 versus 0.1 estimated. And also some comments from Fed's Waller basically saying that the U.S. financing pressures could raise the long-term neutral rate, but we don't have enough time yet. Only time will tell how this U.S. fiscal position will be impacted. So interesting look there. We do have some economic data coming up next week to keep an eye on. GDP coming in on Thursday, the GDP print, and then on Friday we'll be getting the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. That's going to be the PCE. Also worth noting here, the Euro to DXY relationship here. I have this up because we did have this nice pop here in the Euro on the USD. Some ECB officials speaking today, including Nagel and Mueller, both saying that they think it will take some time for further rate cuts. So this bit of a hawkish stance, nice look for the Euro, guys.
All right. We
Definitely a good look for the euro. I'm trying to wrap my head around Lucy's float of being 12 million.
Lucy, huh?
When it could do like, I mean, it's going to press 500 million shares today. It's already halfway to that. So that's kind of, it's a ridiculous amount of volume, which is impressive. I thought maybe a dip into 50. It's about to break out the top again. So we're not even going to get a chance for a dip into 50 on this stock. Pretty much no way, no how. Look, I've paid for locates on it. Part of that is flexibility. It just, in terms of putting stop orders out here at Real Trading and then having take profits, it's just a little bit easier to manage that way. And they're so cheap, I want them in the block. I want to have them available to me. It's not about going short. I'm looking for a long entry on the stock. So it's not really about that. I would look for a long off the 50 level, but it's got to do some kind of a dip to get me involved. I just want to go back over. I don't think Mara's made the move yet. There you go. All right. So no breakout on Mara. Hasn't really broken out the top. I just canceled my breakout bid on Mara because it's starting to pull back in. Trend's still generally up. Every time I look to my left, it's so I can see the Bitcoin chart with having. I look at IBIT making a move back at the highs, and I want to see the corresponding price, which Sean has up. But I'm seeing this on Bitcoin breaking toward the top, and I'm asking myself, well, why not just take the stair step long? So I'm going to go long on Mara off of the opening range bottom and a little bounce in here. So if VWAP can hold, this looks pretty good. It should be following Bitcoin anyways to a certain extent. And yes, Meta is frustrating. I'll get to that in a second, but I was about to get into ARM, so I wanted to just get my stop order in there and then work back on over to the next. So the reason we liked it is you're breaking higher on Bitcoin. I follow IBIT. It's a dip back into the previous high, showed me the wick, long, stop there, get out. Now I don't have to actually take the break of 21. I can hold past the break of 21.05, I guess it would be, and then see if this move can continue. Some of these names are super strong. I'm not here to tell you that Mara necessarily should care about the ETH news because they don't mine Ethereum, but it is what it is. It's making some power moves. My biggest regret today was never finding a long into Meta. It's up 2.5%. I could say the same thing about Tesla. These are both absolutely flying. And Meta, if this breaks the 50 period, the amount of regret that anybody that was looking for a dip buy into 400 like myself and didn't just take 420 when it was presented, I'm going to slap the fail on that one for myself. But I can say the same thing about Microsoft. So Microsoft didn't dip as nicely, though. That was it is what it is, man. Like that 420 was absolute gold.
Yeah, that happened too quickly. All right, so we got punched out of TQQs, but then I just punched long. So like now, I mean, I just think the market's, it's above the 50-period moving average. I want to be in this name until we come back underneath this. 18.8190. I mean, this is not even close to a market that I want to be shorting right now. Apple is an absolute monster. We're in the money $1.50 on Apple. Nvidia is going to probably take that day's high, or actually it's at intraday high right now of 1048. We did get to 1050 earlier, so this is a good possibility to do something here again as well. That, of course, is Nvidia. And then we've already talked about AMD. Let me just check out Google. Remember we were short Google. All right, so look at this, starting to go upside as well. Is Amazon getting juice? No, this could be the next one to go for sure. We've already highlighted Meta as a lot of these NASDAQ names. Here we go, we're long the queues, let's go. Look at Meta, boom, to the upside. We talked about wanting to buy this one. We missed our opportunity there. Is Palantir finally going now? Yes, it is. There goes Palantir to the upside as well. So that's a banger there for anybody that was able to get into that one. We didn't really find our way into it. But yeah, so far, nice move up. And then I feel like Tesla's, you know, that last day when it sort of went a little parabolic, there was a top that was found. Was it this day? Yeah, it must have been right into here. So right around, yeah, so this is the day, 177 straight up to 182. And then we were able to find a level, so a couple double or triple tops before falling back down. That, to me, is what you're going to need to see on Tesla. Just like when you drop into here, couple bottoms before eventually going back up. So I don't, you know, for Tesla right now, you just hit those tops and took it out. So, you know, this is a very, very strong name. Maybe the short 179, 180, but that's a risky spot right there. And look what we just did right here.
I think 180.
Yeah, 180. Yeah, and you talk about doing a 180. We did a complete 180 right here on the futures, and now we're long on the futures and nicely in the money, pushing it the other way right now. So this will be a positive name for us, the TQQs, despite having that short, being able to get out and now flip it over to the long side. So we're just gonna wait, man, and see what happens here. And apparently, I have to book our tea time with Jeff Mendel.
Uh-oh. Oh, Jeff.
So get ready and put out that Amex, Jeff, there. Get that black card ready, my guy.
Of course he will. That's Jeff. Come on, he can't do the booking. It is what it is.
No, I told him. I told him.
Well, you guys gonna pick the course and all that kind of stuff. You'll see me out of DraftKings right now. That just pulled back underneath 4150. Just gonna show you on the way down yesterday. Here's 4150. It was the only consolidation at the open, and then it absolutely plunged. The futures just took out highs, and this made a pullback. I still want to be involved in VWAP if we can get it. So we get down to 4110 to 4120. I still like the reload on DraftKings, but that trail out just came in. Like I was just putting it in when the market broke the highs, thinking, okay, this is a good place to start trailing because it's starting to break out. And DraftKings came down when we just made a fresh high. So I do like that out. Just jumping back over, I might be able to get back into GitLab here or add to GitLab. Still looking for the low of the day. I want the shorts at or above VWAP into yesterday's bottom on GTLB. So far, it is resisting all of the strength that is inherent in the market today. So I think this one is going to continue to trend down. So we want to hold on to it for the market lows, for the low of the day on GitLab, but I'm still trying to get filled off the offer in VWAP, and I'm not going to sit out in front of it because its volume is so low. Very low volume on it today, despite the fact that it is weak. Rivian, we're still holding no VWAP bounce, no breakout of the top yet, but I'm holding for the breakout of the top, which is at 1025. Otherwise, looking for a VWAP bounce, or if it just doesn't hold VWAP, we'll look at it at $10 even. GameStop, I said it was starting to wake up. Well, others told me it was starting to wake up. I'll give you guys credit. I just noticed after you guys told me that it was starting to wake up. Higher low off the 18 level on GME. Like I said, I don't want a breakout trade, but I do love the higher low after a down open and then the hold of VWAP on GameStop. If it does it today, obviously yesterday was the one day that it couldn't do it. It actually rejected the other way. If it can hold above VWAP, I'd look for a long, give it to 18, and then maybe you get a squeeze, go red to green on GME, but that's the only setup I want. I want to see strength and then jump in. Yesterday, this was just all downside, and it could not hold on to VWAP. Looking back at this chart, I got to ask myself why I wasn't thinking short GameStop yesterday. I was probably waiting for it to go above VWAP to go long. That was silly. The trend is your friend till the end when it bends. So we're long Mars still, long Rivian, looking to get more short of GitLab. But it's 11 o'clock, I just realized that's my bad. You are going to be headed over to, although we'll be back at 2 o'clock, so don't worry about it. But you're about to be heading on over to Learn to Trade with the professor and Adara. Go get them.
See ya.
I had no idea it was 11 o'clock.
Ram was panicking there. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade.